Outside a 30-story building, a tide of zombies piles into a writhing mountain of corpses. It grows higher and higher, threatening to reach the rooftop. The squad opens fire with everything they have. Muzzles spit fire, and a storm of bullets fills the air. Zombies that charge up are wiped out, only for a fresh wave to surge forward. It's still hard to stop this terrifying ascent. On the rooftop helipad, a transport helicopter's engine roars. Its rotors begin to spin wildly. It's about to evacuate as our last hope. I lead the team, laying down covering fire, while calling my teammates on the radio. Fall back to the chopper. My wife, Bai, spreads her arms wide. She blocks the path to the only transport helicopter's boarding ladder. Wait 10 more minutes. Just 10 minutes. My sworn brother will be here any second. Her voice is shrill. In her eyes, there's a look of near-delusional stubbornness. All for that useless, sworn brother of hers, Pan Chi. This is the human resistance's final evacuation operation in this entire region, codenamed Operation Ember. The zombie horde is closing in. Every second we delay, our hope of survival grows dimmer. Our Dawn Squad fought through hell to get here. This isn't just an escape route, it's the last ember of our civilization. But Bai doesn't care about any of that. In her world, it seems only that, eternally helpless, always unreliable. Pan Chi matters. Watching the thick, rolling smoke rising on the distant horizon, and hearing the faint, growing roars getting closer and closer, the squad's morale is on the verge of collapse. Machine gunner Wang Meng has veins bulging on his forehead in frustration. We can't wait any longer, sis. The horde's vanguard will be here in 5 minutes. Medic Xiaoyu pleads tearfully. For everyone's sake, please move. We have to go. But Bai reacts like a cat with its tail stepped on. She snaps back. 5 minutes. 5 minutes to save a life. Are you all that heartless? Pan Chi is one of us too. Deputy Captain Old Zhang's face turned livid with anger. What has he ever done besides hold us back? If he hadn't messed with the supplies last time, would we have lost so much ammunition? Someone tried to step forward and pull her away by force. Don't anyone dare come closer. I said we wait, so we wait. You selfish bastards. Facing the shocked and angry stares of everyone, I, Chen Feng, as the captain of the Dawn Squad, slowly raised my hand. The team instantly fell silent. They all looked at me. In my past life, it was right here that I was soft-hearted. I compromised. I knocked Bai unconscious and took her onto the plane. That led to a series of tragedies later on. In the end, when I had achieved success and developed a drug that could cure the zombie virus, I stood atop the city wall, ready to lead the army in a counterattack against the zombies. But she drugged me and pushed me into the horde. I died filled with hatred. The cold smirk she wore on that high wall is still fresh in my memory. If it weren't for you back then, unwilling to wait just a little longer, how could Brother Pan Chi have died? You owe him. Pay with your life. Now I've been reborn. Back at this fateful crossroads, looking at Bai, who, for the sake of another man, would turn against me, and the entire team, frantically pointing a blade at me. The last trace of warmth in my heart was completely extinguished. Since she wants so badly to be with Pan Chi, to live and die together, then this time, I'll grant them their wish. I took a deep breath. A calm smile appeared on my face, completely at odds with the tense atmosphere. I spoke up. My voice wasn't loud, but it stunned everyone, including Bai, who was holding the knife. Is right. After all, Pan Chi is one of our own. It's not right to abandon him. Bai looked at me suspiciously, but the wariness in her eyes relaxed slightly. Chen Feng. You really mean that? I nodded. I stepped forward, and gently lowered the hand holding the gun. My tone was so gentle it was almost eerie. Of course, we're a team, after all. Watching Bai's smile, I thought to myself, laugh it up. Just wait till you can't laugh anymore. I turned to my team members, their faces etched with confusion and anxiety. Captain, Chen. This is too dangerous. Captain, get a grip. Just for Bai alone. Are you really going to get us all killed? The heavy gunner, Akai, had bloodshot eyes, almost lunging forward to grab my collar. Shut up, all of you. The assault rifle in Bai's hands spat fire again, bullets striking the concrete at everyone's feet, kicking up a shower of sparks. Chen Feng has made his decision. We must wait for Brother Pan Chi. Anyone who dares say another word will face the consequences. With my support, Bai's presence grew even more imposing. Like a mother leopard protecting her cub, she glared fiercely at every team member who dared show discontent. She holstered her gun, turned, and tightly wrapped her arms around mine. Her voice instantly turned soft and sweet. Chen Feng, you're still the one who treats me best. I knew it. You're different from these selfish people. You value loyalty above all. Feeling the warmth from her arm, I forced a seemingly gentle smile, and gently patted her cold hand. Pan Chi is like a brother to me. How could I possibly abandon him? Right now, Bai is completely intoxicated by this false victory. She has no idea that I'm no longer the fool from my past life, the one she manipulated so easily. As a top-tier network engineer who holds the highest level access key to the Dawn base, my wrist-mounted microcommunicator is directly linked to the military district's highest command. All I have to do is press that button. Within 10 minutes, a heavily armed vertical takeoff and landing transport aircraft from the base will arrive. Right above us, every single member of my squad is an elite, 1 in 10,000 tactical experts, weapons masters, top-tier medics, except for Bai Yi and her deadweight brother, Pan Chi. In my past life, it was precisely because of my foolish sentimentality that I gave up my dedicated rescue to bring along the worthless Bai Yi, choosing this dangerous evacuation route that hogged public resources. It ultimately led to a series of tragedies. This time, I won't make the same mistake again. I'm going to watch with my own eyes how Bai Yi and her precious brother Pan Chi are dragged step by step into the abyss of despair by their self-righteous affection and selfishness. Their lives I will personally end. Seeing me silence all opposition and take control, Bai Yi's face grew even more smug. She even shot a defiant glare at a few of the veteran squad members. Time crawled by in suffocating anxiety. Down below, a black tide of zombies was frantically climbing upward, piling on top of each other. Their low, guttural roars grew closer. The air was thick with the stench of rotten death. Just as everyone's nerves were stretched to the breaking point, a tall, thin figure finally stumbled into view at the edge of the landing pad. Hey, Shan Feng, I knew it. I knew you'd wait for me. Pan Chi was in complete disarray, gasping for breath, yet his face was lit up with the wild joy of a survivor, as if making it here was some incredible feat. Bai Yi let out a long sigh of relief. A brilliant smile bloomed on her face, as if all the waiting had been worth it. However, at that very moment, a deafening explosion erupted from downstairs, its flames lighting up half the sky. The preset explosive charges had been breached by the horde. They're climbing up. Almost at the same moment the explosion sounded, the pilot of the rescue helicopter that had been hovering for so long clearly received his final orders. The cabin door began to close slowly. The engine roared to life. The rotor blades spun faster, kicking up a cloud of dust. No, wait, we still have people. A team member tried to rush forward, but was forced back by the downdraft. In the end, the helicopter, carrying the few civilians it had saved, rose without hesitation and flew off into the distance, leaving the helipad in deadly silence. Then came the outburst of rage. Bai Yi, you crazy bitch, you've killed us all. Kai was the first to roar. He slammed his fist against a discarded fuel tank nearby, making a dull thud, and that Pan Chi couldn't have picked a worse time. Did you time it perfectly? To come collect our corpses? You just had to go back last night for that damn laptop of yours. What's in there? Your family's ancestral tablets? Medic Xiao Yu was also lashing out in anger. Tears welled up in her eyes. The helipad erupted in curses. Despair and fury hung over everyone. Pan Chi was terrified by the onslaught, his face pale. He hid behind Bai Yi, clutching his broken laptop, shaking like a leaf. Sorry, I didn't mean to. There are very important photos on this computer. He stammered his defense, his voice barely a whisper, but everyone present heard him loud and clear. Team members now turned their gazes toward me, their eyes filled with disappointment and confusion. Captain, we've always trusted your judgment, but this time, you've really let us down. Deputy Captain Lao Zhang's voice was hoarse, heavy with regret. I put on an appropriately grave and remorseful expression. I took a deep breath and spoke to everyone. This is my fault. I shouldn't have let personal feelings cloud my judgment, but it's too late for that now. Everyone, calm down. I know there's an abandoned underground emergency shelter nearby. Let's take shelter there first, then figure out our next move. Bai Yi, however, held onto the shaken Pan Chi and snorted disdainfully. What's there to be afraid of? Chen Feng is here. He won't let us die. If not this time, we'll just wait for the next evacuation. He'll figure something out. Her words poured fuel on the fire. The team members looked at her with eyes that could shoot flames. Some even raised their guns, as if the next moment they would blow her head off. But with the horde closing in, now's not the time for infighting. We need to get off this landing pad fast. I led the remaining members of the Dawn Squad towards the abandoned underground emergency shelter. I remembered. Move, keep up, hold formation. I hissed under my breath, my assault rifle at the ready. I scanned our surroundings warily, the shadows of the ruins. The squad was exhausted, but survival instinct and training kept them in a basic tactical formation. Machine gunner Wang Meng and gunner A Kai covered the rear. Their heavy gear weighed them down, making their steps heavy. Sweat soaked through their combat uniforms. Medic Xiao Yu, deputy leader Lao Zhang, and the others were also fully geared up, carrying most of the squad's remaining ammo and precious supplies. In comparison, Bai Yi and Pan Chi were traveling light. Bai Yi only carried a small backpack. She even had to support the wheezing Pan Chi. Pan Chi was even more ridiculous. Aside from that broken laptop, he was clutching to his chest. He carried almost nothing. He stumbled as he ran, his face pale as a sheet. Pan Chi, slow down. Watch your step. Bai Yi's voice cut through the tense atmosphere, sounding especially shrill. She kept stopping to wait for Pan Chi or pat his back to help him catch his breath. Hey, slow down. Can't you see Pan Chi can't keep up? He's not strong. He can't handle this pace. Ma'am, the horde is right behind us. If we slow down, we all die. Die? What do you mean die? Didn't Shen Feng say there's a shelter? Bai Yi shot back defiantly. Then she glanced at the laptop in Pan Chi's arms. Bai Yi's eyes darted around. She turned to the soldier next to her, weighed down by heavy comms gear, tech specialist Xiao Lu, and said, Xiao Lu, you're young and strong. What's the big deal helping Pan Chi carry his laptop? It must be exhausting for him to run with it. Xiao Lu's face flushed with anger. He was about to retort, when I stopped him with a look. Now's not the time for infighting. Pan Chi, however, saw his chance and took it. He immediately tried to hand the laptop to Xiao Lu, saying, I'd really appreciate it, Xiao Lu. The photos on here are extremely important. Xiao Lu clenched his jaw and looked away, ignoring him completely. This scene deepened the team's disgust for these two by another notch. But with the zombie horde drawing ever closer, everyone had to swallow their rage. We pushed on desperately. We encountered a few scattered groups of zombies along the way. We dealt with them quickly, but the gunfire drew more attention. Weaving, evading, brief firefights. That single kilometer of travel took us nearly an hour to finally reach our destination. When the disguised entrance to the bunker, masquerading as an abandoned garage door, came into view, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Quick! Get inside! I directed the team into the dark, descending passageway. Wang Meng and A Kai were the last to enter. Together, they pushed the heavy blast door shut. The hinges let out a piercing metallic screech. It was accompanied by the rapidly approaching, nerve-grating scrabbling and roars from outside. Several fast-moving zombies had already lunged at the door. Their withered arms and snarling faces tried to force their way through the narrowing gap. As it closed, push! I stepped forward and pressed my shoulder against it. Every team member who could free up a hand rushed up and pushed together. The blast door finally slammed shut. A heavy metallic clunk echoed, temporarily sealing out all the chaos and danger outside. The moment it shut, a barrage of impacts hit from outside, accompanied by frenzied roars. It was as if countless hands were pounding against this final barrier. The blast door groaned under the assault, but it didn't budge an inch. Inside, only the team's ragged breathing could be heard. We're safe. What a disaster. Deputy Leader Lao Zhang slid down against the cold wall to the floor. His voice was hoarse. Finally. Ah Kai also collapsed to the ground. He slammed his fist against the floor. Xiao Yu pulled out a weak light source and began quickly checking if anyone was injured during the run or the fight. Everyone was completely exhausted. What the hell is this place? It's dark and cold, and it smells musty. Bai Yi pinched her nose, looking around with disgust at this dusty, underground space reeking of rusted metal. Shen Feng, this is where you brought us for shelter? There's not even a decent bed. Hearing this, the team members shot angry glances her way. But the days of running and the effort to close the door had drained everyone's last ounce of strength. No one had the energy to argue with her now, but the hatred in their eyes remained undiminished. Lao Zhang kept his eyes closed, his chest heaving, his fists were clenched tight. Wang Meng turned his head away, not wanting to look at her. I ignored Bai Yi's complaints. I signaled to Xiao Yu to distribute a small amount of drinking water to everyone. I leaned against a supply crate myself, closing my eyes to rest. The screen of the microcommunicator on my wrist flickered in the darkness with a faint, almost imperceptible green light. Just as everyone had caught their breath and thought they'd found a moment to breathe, Lu, the communications specialist, suddenly jerked his head up. He'd been trying to fix that bulky military radio. Squad leader, there's a signal. It's the military's encrypted channel. Lu's voice trembled slightly. He quickly noted down the message, his face growing paler. Everyone held their breath, looking at Lu. A moment later, Lu took off the headset. His face was drained of color. He looked at us, his lips quivering. He could barely form a complete sentence. Command's latest broadcast. The final evacuation point has been overrun by the Horde. Resistance forces have fully withdrawn from the area. All survivors are declared missing or Kia. Rescue is terminated. The news hit like a thunderbolt, exploding in the cramped bunker. What? They're abandoning us? Kai shot to his feet. He roared in disbelief. Impossible. We're still here. We're still alive. Meng Wang's eyes instantly reddened. Xiao Yu's tears welled up instantly. She began to sob quietly. How could this happen? We've held on for so long. Old Zhang took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Our last chance for evacuation is gone. We've been abandoned. No way. Lu, send a signal back. Tell them we're alive. The despair in old Zhang's voice was unmistakable. The mood instantly froze over. 3 years, from the start of base construction and training, we've faced the loss of countless comrades. We finally made it to the evacuation point, only to miss it by a damn 10 minutes. And in the end, what we get is to be completely written off. Just as everyone was almost crushed by this overwhelming despair, Bai Yi let out a scoff, breaking the tense atmosphere. Hey, is it really that bad? Why the long faces? So the rescue is a little late. Don't we have supplies? Look at all this. She pointed at the few crates we brought in. It's enough to last us a while. We just wait. Rescue will definitely come. Stop overreacting. Her words were like a lit fuse, instantly igniting the team's long-suppressed anger. Kai was the first to snap. He pointed at her face and yelled, "Bai, do you have no conscience? If it weren't for you, we'd be on that plane by now. We wouldn't be in this mess. And now you're making snide remarks? It's you and your useless brother. You two are the reason for this." Xiaoyu cried out through tears. Bai stood her ground defiantly. "What did I do wrong? Was I wrong to wait for brother Pan Shi? He's our teammate. You're the cold, selfish ones. Now that you've been abandoned, you blame me? For all we know, maybe you pissed off the higher-ups. You." Wang Meng's veins bulged on his forehead. He was about to lunge forward. "Enough!" My low voice cut through. It wasn't loud, but it carried undeniable authority, bringing the escalating situation to a temporary halt. Under the gaze of everyone, some despairing, some furious, some numb, I slowly stood up. I walked to the center of the shelter, to a relatively open spot. Then, under their puzzled stares, I raised my wrist. I operated the seemingly ordinary military communicator. I deftly entered a long, complex code. The communicator's screen lit up with a faint blue glow. A special interface unfolded. I spoke, my voice steady, carrying a strangely calming power. "Everyone, calm down. We haven't been abandoned. I just contacted the base's high command directly, through a special channel. They've received our location, and confirmation we're alive." Those words were like a spark in the darkness, a single spark thrown into the void, instantly igniting everyone's hope. "Captain, is that true? Shan Gu, the higher-ups are really coming to save us?" I nodded firmly. My gaze swept over faces that had reignited with life. "Yes, using my authority as captain of the Daybreak Squad, and the clearance from our previously completed Spark preparatory mission, I sent them an urgent distress signal. Command has confirmed. They will dispatch a dedicated rescue unit to extract us." A dedicated rescue. Xiaoyu covered her mouth. Her tears flowed even harder, but this time, they were tears of joy. Wang Meng pumped his fist hard. "That's great, Captain. I knew you'd find a way." The team members gathered around, all talking at once, asking for details. The gloom on their faces vanished completely, replaced instead by the wild joy of surviving a disaster, and absolute trust in me. Bai Yi heard my firm answer. She was stunned at first, then a brilliant smile spread across her face. She grabbed the hand of Pan Chi, who was standing beside her, equally stunned, and shook it excitedly. "Pan Chi, did you hear that? Chen Feng said there will be a rescue. We're saved. I told you, with Chen Feng here, everything will be fine." Pan Chi snapped out of it too. His face broke into an ingratiating smile. He nodded repeatedly. Yes, Captain Chen Feng is truly amazing. You really have an eye for talent." The way the two of them acted, as if all the credit belonged to them, and without a shred of guilt, made the team members, who had just found hope, feel a wave of intense disgust. Watching Bai Yi and Pan Chi, in their openly intimate posture, then looking at me, her fiancé in name only. Several veteran team members exchanged glances. They all saw in each other's eyes displeasure and confusion. Old Zhang couldn't help it. He whispered to Wang Meng beside him, "What is sister-in-law thinking? The captain is her fiancé. Do you think she's been cheating all along?" Wang Meng snorted coldly. He didn't answer, but the disdain in his eyes was unmistakable. Bai Yi seemed to sense this, but she didn't seem to care at all. Instead, she tightened her grip on Pan Chi's arm, even more firmly. "What are you looking at? Even Chen Feng hasn't said anything. What's it to you? Pan Chi and I have a pure, brother-sister bond. Chen Feng isn't that petty." After saying that, she even shot me a provocative glance. My face remained expressionless, as if I hadn't heard her words, nor seen the looks of inquiry and confusion from the team members. I just sneered inwardly. Brother-sister bond. In my past life, I was blinded by this so-called brother-sister bond. My eyes were clouded. What I got in the end was a knife in the back, and being pushed into a horde of zombies. "This time around, you two can put on your little show." Seeing me remain silent, seemingly accepting Bai Yi's claim, the team members were frustrated, but they could only swallow their discontent. Right now, the most important thing is to wait for rescue. Hope was rekindled. The atmosphere in the bunker was no longer so deathly silent. The team members began following my orders, taking inventory of supplies, checking equipment, and taking turns resting to recover their strength. After a while, Deputy Captain Lao Zhang, while helping me organize my gear, casually glanced at my wrist, at the communicator I had just shown. When his gaze landed on a corner of the screen, on an extremely tiny, almost imperceptible, special symbol, his body suddenly stiffened. That's the highest authority, the identifier for an emergency rescue request. And it's usually followed by a number. Lao Zhang's expression changed slightly. He moved closer to me without a sound, lowering his voice, in a volume only the two of us could hear. He asked, "Chen Feng, the rescue slots you just applied for, what's the number?" I glanced at him. I didn't answer right away. Lao Zhang continued in a low voice, "Our squad's original roster was 10 people. Now there are 2 more. His gaze meaningfully drifted toward the corner where they were sharing the last bit of chocolate. Bai Yi and Pan Chi, laughing and chatting happily. I followed his gaze. just in time to see Pan Chi intimately put his arm around Bai Yi's shoulder. Their heads were close together, whispering something to each other. Their faces were both lit up with relaxed, happy smiles. It was completely at odds with the other team members around them, who, while hopeful, remained vigilant. I looked away. I nodded to Lao Zhang. My voice was calm and even. Yes. I applied for 11 slots. 11. Lao Zhan was stunned for a moment, his brow furrowed tightly. There are 12 of us here. His voice held confusion, and a trace of barely noticeable tension. The squad's elite, plus Bai Yi and Pan Chi. That's 12 people. 11 slots, means one person has to be left behind. I look at Lao Zhang, a cold smile curls at the corner of my mouth. I say softly, don't worry, Lao Zhang, none of our brothers in the squad will be left behind. Everyone will get on. Lao Zhang looks even more confused, but... I pause for a moment. My gaze shifts back to that pair of seemingly detached siblings. My tone carries a hint of amusement. Someone might not be getting on that plane. Lao Zhang doesn't get it at first. Then he sees the undisguised chill in my eyes and thinks back to Bai Yi and Pan Chi's strange closeness and the 11 spots I mentioned earlier. A thought flashes through his mind, like lightning. He whips his head around to look at them, then back at me. His eyes are full of shock, but soon, the shock turns to understanding, and a hint of complexity. Captain, you mean? Lao Zhang's voice is hoarse. I smile, but the smile holds no warmth whatsoever. It's simple. When the time comes, it'll be up to our Miss Bai Yi and her dear brother Pan Chi to make their own choice. 11 spots, 12 people, only one of them can get on. Tell me, facing the only way out, will they stick to this deep sibling bond? Or will they turn on each other? Lao Zhang draws a sharp breath. He fully understands my intention now. He looks at Bai Yi and Pan Chi, oblivious nearby, still making promises to live and die together. The last trace of sympathy vanishes from his eyes, leaving only cold indifference. I understand. Don't worry, Captain. I know what to do. Right at that moment, we clearly heard Bai Yi assure Pan Chi, don't worry, Pan Chi. When the time comes, I'll make sure you get on that plane. Chen Feng wouldn't dare disobey me. Pan Chi moved, held her hand. You're the best. For the rest of my life, I'll never forget your kindness. Watching them, my internal sneer grew even colder. Looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. When the only way out is right in front of you, how long can you keep wearing this mask of deep affection? In the following days, we waited for rescue. In this dark, damp underground shelter, I had old Zhang and Xiaoyu strictly control the rationing of supplies. Although food and drinking water were still sufficient, we had to use them sparingly. No one knew exactly when rescue would arrive. The team members were very disciplined. Each person, per day, could only get a small amount of compressed biscuits and water. Silently enduring hunger and thirst, they conserved their strength. However, Bai Yi and Pan Chi were a completely different story. They seemed convinced that rescue would come soon, and supplies weren't an issue at all. Bai Yi gave more than half of her own water ration to Pan Chi. Pan Chi complained the compressed biscuits were too hard to swallow, took a couple of bites, and tossed them aside. Seeing this, Bai Yi actually went to Xiaoyu, who was in charge of distributing supplies, to ask for an extra portion. Her reason was that Pan Chi was weak and needed extra nutrition. After she finished speaking, everyone was instantly furious. Xiaoyu was so angry she refused on the spot. Bai Yi, the supplies belong to everyone. We all get the same share. Why should he get more? Why are you being so stingy? Pan Chi is a man. What's wrong with him having a bigger appetite? Once rescue arrives, we'll pay you back double. Old Zhan couldn't take it anymore either. He said sternly, it's not about paying it back. It's about principle. Principle? We're barely clinging to life. And you're talking about principle? Bai Yi scoffed. Then she turned to look at me. Her tone was both coquettish and entitled. Chen Feng, look at them. Can't you talk some sense into them? Pan Chi is practically starving. Under the team members' almost furious gazes, I was silent for a few seconds. Then I slowly spoke up. My tone held a hint of barely concealed indulgence. All right, that's enough. Xiaoyu. Give them a little extra next time. As soon as I said this, not only were the team members stunned, even Bai Yi and Pan Chi were taken aback. Then, Bai Yi's face broke into a triumphant, smug smile. As if to show off, she glared at Xiaoyu and old Zhang. Chen Feng, you. Kai couldn't help but speak up. But old Zhang stopped him with a look. The team members looked at me, their eyes filled with disappointment and confusion. They couldn't understand why the team leader kept indulging this woman who nearly got us all killed. And her useless sworn brother. After Bai Yi strutted back triumphantly with her specially approved extra rations to Pan Chi's side, a few core team members couldn't hold back. They found old Zhang, vice captain. What's wrong with the captain? Has that woman Bai Yi cast a spell on him? Wang Meng fumed indignantly. Kai was also seething with anger. If this goes on, before rescue arrives, we'll be dragged down by those two deadweights first. Old Zhang looked at the agitated team members, sighed, and lowered his voice. Calm down, everyone. The captain has his reasons. Believe me, he would never abandon any one of us. Just bear with it for now. now. Although the team members were still full of doubts and resentment, their long-standing trust in old Zhang made them temporarily hold their tempers. However, the atmosphere inside the shelter grew even more tense. The conflict between the team members and Bai Yi and Pan Chi was like an undercurrent, ready to erupt at any moment. Emboldened by my favoritism, Bai Yi grew even more brazen. She strutted around like she owned the place. She ignored the team members' cold stares in silence, turning a blind eye. She only whispered with Pan Chi, the two of them fantasizing about the good life after reaching the safe zone. Time crawled by in the oppressive wait. Late on the fourth night, just before the expected rescue arrival, old Zhang and I, along with Akai and a few other core members, were in a corner, quietly discussing the next steps. Suddenly, Bai Yi rushed over in a hurry. Her face showed an unusual flush and urgency. "Chen Feng, give me the serum." She cut straight into our meeting, thrusting her hand out in front of me. Her tone was demanding, leaving no room for discussion. My heart sank. The serum? Why ask for it all of a sudden? I stood up, frowning deeply. I stared at her. The serum? What do you need it for? Is someone infected? My gaze swept quickly over every member of the team present. Bai Yi immediately denied it, but her eyes were shifty. No, it's brother Pan Chi. He has a fever. He's burning up. He must be infected with the virus. Give me the serum, now. He needs an injection immediately. His words stunned everyone. Then came a surge of anger. Old Zhang was the first to shout sharply. Bai Yi, do you have any idea what you're saying? Do you know what that serum means? Are you not clear on that? I looked at her, my eyes cold as steel, and said, word by word, Bai Yi. This serum, codename Hope, it was obtained by our Dawn Squad, along with 17 top biologists, in a fallen laboratory. It's the only successful sample, bought with their lives. For this, our squad fought through hordes of zombies, in a bloody battle back and forth. Professor Wang and the others used their last breath to place it in my hands. It is humanity's weapon against this disaster, perhaps our only remaining spark. Its purpose is to save all of human civilization. Not to treat a common fever for you. The other team members spoke up one after another, their voices filled with emotion. When the lab exploded, Dr. Li's guts were ripped out, and he still wouldn't let go of the incubator. We nearly got wiped out on the road, just to lure away the pursuers. This serum was paid for with countless lives. It must not be touched. Bai Yi was bombarded with accusations from everyone. Her face turned pale, then flushed with anger, but she stomped her foot hard, and shrieked, I don't care. What does humanity's hope have to do with me? All I want right now is for brother Pan Chi to be okay. He has a fever, a bad one. Since this serum can kill the zombie virus, then it can definitely cure his sickness. I don't care what you say, you must hand over the serum. Her unreasonable and selfish behavior pissed everyone off completely. Bai Yi, have you lost your humanity? Akai's eyes were wide with rage. Wang Mang also roared, for that useless guy, are you going to ruin everyone's hope? The situation was on the verge of chaos. A flash of ruthlessness crossed Bai Yi's eyes. She suddenly reached into her boot and pulled out a gleaming military dagger. She took a sudden step forward, pressing the blade right against my neck, on the artery. Shut up, all of you. Hand over the serum, or I'll kill him right now. Bai Yi, how dare you? Let the captain go. The team members were shocked and furious. They raised their weapons, but they were afraid to act, not daring to make a move. I looked at Bai Yi, so close to me. Her face, twisted by madness and obsession, was right there. I felt no fear, only a cold sense of ridicule and absurdity. In my past life, it was the same. I was fooled by her seemingly fragile appearance. I risked my life for her, time and again. Even when she was surrounded by high-level mutants, I risked my life as bait to lure the monsters away, nearly dying in the process. On my back, a hideous scar remains to this day. I gave her the best of everything I could offer. I gave it all to her. I trusted her. I cared for her. And what did I get in return? This moment right now. Her, for another man, holding a knife to my throat. My silence and cold gaze seemed to provoke Bai Yi. She pressed harder with her wrist, the blade tight against my skin. Hurry up, she barked. Hand over the serum. I'll count to 3. The team members, seeing the knife at my throat, were furious and anxious, but utterly helpless. Lao Zhang's face turned ashen. Clenching his teeth, he finally closed his eyes heavily. He waved at Xiaoyu. Tears streamed down Xiaoyu's face. With extreme reluctance, from a specially made insulated case, she took out the spiral glass vial that held humanity's last hope, glowing with a faint blue light. Bai Yi snatched the serum. She gave us a smug look, put away her dagger, and like a victor, turned and ran to Pan Chi in the corner. We watched helplessly as she brutally injected that incredibly precious serum into Pan Chi. Not long after, Pan Chi's fever broke, just as expected. He slowly regained consciousness. His complexion looked much healthier too. He sat up, looking at the team members around him, and their looks that could tear him apart. Pan Chi forced a weak, apologetic smile. Sorry for causing so much trouble. Thank you for saving me. Especially you, Yi, thank you. He offered his insincere thanks, unable to meet anyone's eyes. The team members snorted coldly. No one paid him any attention. Only Bai Yi looked at him with heartache and relief, holding his hand. Fiancée, I'm just glad you're okay. Don't talk about thanks. I'd do anything for you. Seeing Bai Yi's expression, like she was being sold out and still helping count the money. And Fiancée's hypocritical performance. I just felt my stomach churn. It was utterly disgusting. What does Fiancée have besides a silver tongue? What else? In this life and the last, I gave so much for Bai Yi, risking life and limb, yet it couldn't compare to a few honeyed words from Fiancée. How ironic. But what he didn't know was, this serum wasn't actually perfect. Inside, it had side effects beyond human imagination. The truly perfect serum was actually somewhere else. Before dawn, a distinct sound came from above the shelter. The rotor blades of a helicopter approaching from afar. The roar growing louder and louder, until it finally stabilized, hovering right above us. Rescue was here. Xiao Lu shouted excitedly. Everyone sprang into action instantly, quickly packing their gear. I used the communicator to confirm their identity and the extraction signal. Soon, the concealed exit on the shelter's roof was opened from the outside, and a rope ladder was lowered. Bai Yi and Fiancée reacted the fastest, almost immediately, rushing to the base of the rope ladder, scrambling to be the first to climb up. Fiancée shoved Bai Yi aside. Move, I'm going first. Fiancée, you. Bai Yi stumbled from the push, looking at him in disbelief. At this moment, two fully armed rescue personnel wearing combat uniforms, marked with the Dawn Base insignia, slid down the rope ladder. Their movements crisp and efficient. One of them held an electronic terminal, scanning us with a cold gaze as he verified our identities. Board in order as your names are called. The rescue personnel's voice held no emotion. He began calling names. Chun Feng, Zhang Weigua, Wang Meng, A Kai, Zhao Xiaoyu. The names of the 10 members from the squad's original roster were called one by one. They climbed the rope ladder in turn and boarded the VTOL transport without any issues. After the last squad member's name was called, the rescue personnel closed the terminal. Bai Yi and Fiancée were dumbfounded. Wait, what about us? Bai Yi calls out urgently. Fiancée pushes forward. Yeah, us. Bai Yi. Fiancée. Are we missing from the list? The rescue worker gives them a cold look. He opens his terminal again, scans it briefly, and shakes his head. The terminal shows this rescue list only has 10 people. There's no record for Bai Yi or Fiancée. What? Bai Yi looks as if struck by lightning. Her face instantly turns deathly pale. Fiancée is also panicking. He whips his head around to look at me. His eyes are full of terror and accusation. By now, the team members already on the aircraft are also leaning out, watching the scene below. Bai Yi seems to grab at a lifeline. Stumbling, she rushes up to me as I've just climbed the rope ladder. She grabs the hem of my combat uniform. Her voice, warped by extreme fear, turns shrill. Qin Feng, what's going on? Why aren't our names on it? You promised you'd take us with you. You lied to me. I look down at her from above. I see on her face an unprecedented panic and despair. My heart is unmoved. There's only a cold, detached calm. I say slowly, the rescue list is based on the core personnel roster, issued by the High Command of the Dawn Base for the Ember Project, our 10-person Daybreak Squad. Every single one of us is an indispensable expert in our respective fields. We are the embers for rebuilding civilization. Therefore, the list was always meant for only 10 people. Bai Yi's entire body began to tremble violently. She could barely stand. I paused, looking into her desperate eyes. I continued, but considering our past relationship, I did plead with the command center. I argued for your importance. In Bai Yi's eyes, a faint glimmer of hope reignited, but my next words plunged her into an icy abyss. The command center finally granted one extra spot. I held up a finger, making a one gesture, but there are 2 of you. So, today, only one of you can board. Only one of you can board. Bai Yi muttered the words, as if she couldn't comprehend them. The other survivors at the boarding point now understood the situation. They remembered the past few days, and all the things Bai Yi and Fiancée had done, and the deep, moving affection between them. Many wore mocking smirks, eager to see the drama unfold. Some even quietly mimicked their earlier conversation. Don't worry, Fiancée. I'll make sure you get on that plane. You're the best. I'll never forget you for the rest of my life. A rescuer urged impatiently. Make a decision, now. The plane can't stay long. If you don't board, we're leaving. Bai Yi's face turned deathly pale. Her lips quivered. She looked at the rope ladder, then at the person beside her. Fiancée, who was also scared out of his wits. Her eyes were filled with struggle, pain, and hesitation. I'm sorry, Fiancée. Before she could finish, Fiancée, who had been trembling in fear moments ago, suddenly had a flash of vicious determination in his eyes. He suddenly shoved Bai Yi, who was blocking his way, hard to the side. Bai Yi was caught off guard and shrieked as she fell to the ground. Fiancée didn't even glance at her. He lunged for the rope ladder. Climbing frantically, he screamed at the rescue team, shouting like a madman, "Take me! Take me with you. I'm a professional photographer. I've documented tons of valuable post-apocalyptic material. I'm useful to the base, more useful than her. That Bai Yi is just a useless woman. She's nothing but deadweight. She can't do anything. Take me. I'm more valuable than her." This sudden betrayal stunned everyone. Bai Yi sat on the ground, clutching her scraped arm. staring in utter disbelief at the man who had sworn his love for her, promised to be good to her forever. Now, to save his own skin, he was viciously slandering her, casting her aside like trash. Pan Chi. Bai Yi let out a piercing, agonized scream. She sprang up from the ground, like a lioness gone mad, and lunged at Pan Chi, who was halfway up the ladder. She grabbed his leg, and yanked him down. "Let go of me, you crazy bitch," Pan Chi shouted in panic and rage, kicking wildly. "You bastard, you said you'd never leave me. You promised," Bai Yi cried and screamed, clawing and hitting him. Pan Chi hurled curses in a blind fury. "I was lying to you. Let go, you idiot." The two began wrestling on the rope ladder, one desperately trying to climb up, the other pulling him down with all her might. It was an ugly, pathetic sight. Their once deep affection shattered completely, in the face of the only chance to survive, revealing its true, hideous nature. The other survivors watched this dog-eat-dog drama unfold. They couldn't hold back, and started jeering. "Hey, wasn't it till death do us part? What's with the fighting? Pan Chi, didn't you say last night that E was the most important person in your life? Bai Yi, looks like your dear brother isn't planning to take you with him? I think that's enough. If this keeps up, we'll miss our evacuation window." So, I gave the rescue worker a nod, and said, "Fine, take them with us. They were our companions once." The rescue worker glanced at me. He didn't ask any questions. He reached out and pulled the two, who were still wrestling, apart, and signaled for them to get on board. In the end, Bai Yi and Pan Chi both clambered onto the plane, looking utterly disheveled. The cabin was spacious, but the team members instinctively huddled together, leaving the two seats closest to the door. For them, no one wanted to go near them. Bai Yi sat in her seat, her hair a mess, clothes torn, tear stains and bruises marked her face. She looked utterly broken. Pan Chi, meanwhile, shrank into another corner, hugging his knees, not daring to look at anyone. The plane began to ascend, leaving this land of despair behind. After a while, Pan Chi seemed to regain his composure. He stole a glance at Bai Yi. That familiar look was back on his face, the one full of ingratiation and guilt. "I'm sorry, back there. That was just a tactical move. I wanted to get on board first, then figure out a way to save you. I never really meant to leave you behind. You have to believe me." He cautiously inched closer to Bai Yi, and whispered. Bai Yi suddenly jerked her head up, her bloodshot eyes fixed on him. Pan Chi kept up his act. His tone was sincere. "Really, Ae, you've been so good to me. How could I be so ungrateful? I was just so scared. A sharp slap cracked across Pan Chi's face. Bai Yi put all her strength into it. The force snapped Pan Chi's head to the side. A clear handprint instantly bloomed on his cheek. "Get out!" Bai Yi hissed the word through clenched teeth. Pan Chi covers his face. A flash of resentment flickers in his eyes, but it's quickly replaced by hurt and self-pity. You. Why can't you understand my good intentions? I really did it for our own good. See, now we're both up here, aren't we? Unbelievably, seeing Pan Chi's seemingly sincere and self-sacrificing act, the anger and hatred in Bai Yi's eyes actually begin to fade. "Why, you mean it? You didn't really want to abandon me?" Seeing his chance, Pan Chi immediately raises his hand to swear. "Of course I mean it. Pan Chi, swear to heaven. If there was a single lie in what I just said, may I be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. You're the only one in this world who's truly good to me. How could I ever betray you?" Bai Yi looks at him and slowly nods. She begins to sob quietly. This scene leaves the team members watching from the city walls, utterly unable to believe their eyes. Holy crap, she bought it. She actually bought it. Kai's eyes widen in disbelief, as if he's just seen some kind of prehistoric monster. Wang Meng is also speechless. This woman, has her brain been eaten by zombies? She's hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. Xiaoyu shakes her head with a sigh. Even old Zhang can't help but glance at me, with a complicated look. I sneered inwardly. Bai Yi, oh Bai Yi. You're just the same as in your past life, so easily taken in by Pan Chi's lies. But that's fine. This works out better. My plan can proceed. I originally intended to turn them against each other, to make them resent one another in despair. I never expected Bai Yi to be so devoted, but it doesn't matter. Having Pan Chi personally shatter her last shred of hope might be even crueler. My teammates whispered to me, we shouldn't have let them come aboard. I waved my hand dismissively. I didn't explain. 3 days later, we arrived safely at the Dawn's safe base. Just as I remembered from my past life, the base was rigidly hierarchical inside. Resources were allocated based on contributions and status. After undergoing strict decontamination and quarantine procedures, we were taken to the allocation center. Thanks to my status as a core member of the Spark project and the merit of retrieving the serum data, I was assigned a relatively spacious and well-equipped officer's quarters. My teammates also received decent accommodations based on their respective skill levels. When it was Bai Yi and Pan Chi's turn, I had already quietly spoken to the logistics officer in charge of assignments. So the two of them were only assigned a spot in the base's outskirts, in a noisy, mixed-gender, communal barracks, a tiny cubicle. Inside were only 2 narrow beds. There was almost no private space. Their daily food ration was merely the bare minimum to survive. A piece of hard, dry black bread, and a small cup of water. When Bai Yi saw the living quarters and food assigned to her, she threw a fit on the spot. He rushed up to me, pointed a finger in my face and demanded, "Chun Feng, what do you mean? Making us live in a place like this? Eat this kind of food? I'm your fiancé. How could you treat me like this? And men and women living together? How is that proper?" I stared at her coldly, not a hint of warmth in my eyes. "Fiancé? From the moment you held a knife to my neck and stole the serum, that title was gone. As for the living arrangements, resources at the base are tight. Having a roof over your head is good enough. Besides, you and Pan Chi are inseparable anyway. Sharing a place is perfect for you." Bai Yi was left speechless by my words. She looked at my icy gaze and finally realized the person before her was truly not the same as before. A flicker of panic crossed her face. Her tone instantly softened, her voice trembling as she began to plead. "Chun Feng, I'm sorry. I know I was wrong. I was just so worried about brother Pan Chi back then. I wasn't thinking straight. Please forgive me. I promise I'll be good to you from now on. You're all I have. Please, for the sake of all our years together, don't treat me like this." She tried to grab my hand, but I shook it off without mercy. "All our years together?" I scoffed, my gaze sharp. "Bai Yi, you talked to me about our bond? When you wasted that serum, did you ever think about those researchers who gave their lives for it? Did you ever think it could have been hope for millions? Our bond was severed the moment you, for Pan Chi's sake, without a second thought, put a knife to my throat. It's over." I watched her face turn deathly pale, and drew the line, word by word. "From now on, you are you, and I am me. You're on your own." With that, I ignored her, turned, and left with my team. Bai Yi stood there frozen, watching me and the team walk away. She looked down again at the dry, hard piece of black bread in her hand. Then she compared it to the comfortable dorms I had just assigned. A huge sense of disparity and regret welled up inside her. For the first time, she realized so clearly that she seemed to have lost something very important. Pan Chi finally came over then, seeing Bai Yi's dejected state, and looking at the bread in his own hand. His face was also full of disdain, but he forced himself to comfort her. "Yi, don't be sad. Chen Feng has changed. He's not worth your tears. Don't worry, I'll be here for you from now on. Once I find an opportunity and make some achievements, we'll definitely get a better place to live. I'll give you a good life." In the past, hearing such promises from Pan Chi would have moved Bai Yi deeply. But now, listening to these empty promises, and facing this harsh reality, and remembering Pan Chi's betrayal on the plane, for the first time in her heart, a sliver of doubt and wavering arose. But looking at Pan Chi's sincere eyes, she finally nodded. She whispered, "Yeah, brother Pan Chi, I believe in you." We rested at the safe base for about half a month. During this time, relying on my memories from my past life and my current technical authority, I rapidly consolidated resources, rearmed and trained the squad, and used my foreknowledge to help the base handle several minor crises. This further solidified my position. Bai Yi and Pan Chi, however, were living in dire straits. The collective barracks were in terrible condition, and food was scarce. Pan Chi couldn't handle the hardship at all. He did nothing but complain all day. Although Bai Yi also regretted her choice, she still seemed to hold on to unrealistic fantasies about Pan Chi. The two clung to each other for comfort in their hardship, and their relationship became somewhat complicated. Not long after, the base command issued a new, high-priority mission. Everyone's eyes instantly lit up with fervor. The mission is to head to an underground bioresearch facility located 200 kilometers from base. Confirm and retrieve the real perfect serum, along with its research data and samples. That place lost contact early in the apocalypse. It's said to be infested with hordes of mutated zombies, making it extremely dangerous. The mission comes with a hefty reward. Any squad that successfully brings back the data and samples will have all its members granted the highest tier resource allocation in the base and residential privileges. This news naturally reached Bai Yi and Pan Chi, the highest tier treatment for the two of us still struggling to get by, and living in a communal prefab. It's an irresistible temptation. After getting the news, the two huddled in a corner of the prefab, whispering their scheme. "Pan Chi, this is our only shot at turning things around. If we can get our hands on that serum data, we'll make it big overnight. No more taking crap from anyone. No more living in this dump." Pan Chi was excited, but more than that, he was scared. "But I heard that place is really dangerous. So many zombies. What's there to be afraid of?" Bai Yi brushed it off. "Isn't Chen Feng going? His squad is definitely taking the mission. We just need to tag along with them and play it by ear when the time comes. Knowing Chen Feng, if we just swallow our pride and beg him a little, he'll definitely take us with him. Then, the credit, we'll just find a way to snatch it for ourselves." Pan Chi's eyes lit up. "Right, we can use Chen Feng, get him to be our bodyguard. Once we find the thing, we can just, ha. He made a grabbing motion. A greedy smile spread across his face. "Yeah, that's the plan." Bai Yi made up her mind. "We'll go find Chen Feng tomorrow. Early the next morning. as our Dawn squad was packing up our gear and preparing to head out. Bai Yi and Pan Shi showed up, just as expected. The two had changed into some old clothes they'd scrounged up from somewhere, still fairly clean. Their faces were plastered with ingratiating smiles. Bai Yi quickly walked up to me. Her tone was deliberately gentle and apologetic. Chen Feng, are you heading out on a mission? Take us with you. We know we were wrong. It was all our fault before. Give us a chance to make up for it, please. Pan Shi quickly chimed in. Yeah, Captain Chen Feng. We might not be much in a fight, but we can help carry supplies. Keep watch, do whatever. More hands, make lighter work. Plus, I studied photography before. I'm pretty good with building layouts. I might be able to help. The team members, seeing their hypocritical faces, just makes my blood boil. Kai scoffed directly. Help? More like a hindrance. Haven't you learned from last time? Wang Mang also snorted. You got a death wish or something? Bai Yi's eyes instantly welled up. She looked at me with a pitiful expression. Chen Feng, look at them. We really want to make up for it. Please, just give us one chance. I promise we'll listen to you this time, and won't cause any trouble. I looked at them, laughing coldly inside. Just like in my past life, they're planning to use me, but that's fine. I was just looking for a chance to deal with you. Under the team's confused gazes, I thought for a moment, then nodded. Fine. You can follow. Shen Feng. Even old Zhang couldn't help but try to dissuade me. I raised my hand to stop him and gave him a look. I whispered, don't worry, I have a plan. We just happen to need 2 blood bags to scout ahead. Old Zhang was stunned for a second, then understood what I meant. With a complicated look, he glanced at Bai Yi and Pan Shi and said nothing more. The other team members were unhappy, but seeing my firm stance, they could only swallow their anger. Seeing that I'd actually agreed, Bai Yi and Pan Shi were overjoyed. They quickly fell in behind the team. We boarded the transport vehicle. Bai Yi deliberately squeezed into the seat next to me and tried to start a conversation. Chen Feng, you must be exhausted from the journey. You look like you've lost weight. She took out a small cloth pouch and from inside pulled out a piece of cookie that was still in decent shape, with a cute pattern printed on it. She offered it to me. Her face showed a mix of shyness and anticipation. I saved this especially for you. Try it. I remember you used to love this brand of cookies the most. I looked at that cookie and felt nothing inside. If anything, it was kind of pathetic. In my past life, I was moved by her little favors and her seemingly attentive care. Deputy Captain Zhang was sitting on my other side. Seeing this, he warned coldly, Captain, be careful. Bai Yi immediately reacted like a cat with its tail stepped on. She looked at Deputy Zhang with a hurt expression. Deputy Zhang, what do you mean by that? Do you think I would ever harm Chen Feng? I just feel bad for him. As she spoke, tears welling up in her eyes again. I didn't take the biscuit. I just closed my eyes and said flatly, no, thanks. You keep it. Get some rest while you can. We've got a long way to go. Bai Yi's hand froze in midair. Her expression instantly stiffened. She reluctantly took the biscuit back. The look she gave Deputy Zhang held a trace of barely concealed resentment. The rest of the journey was silent. The helicopter sped across the sky. Down on the plains below, hordes of zombies roamed. A chilling sight. A day later, we reached our destination. All team members were fully armed. One by one, they descended rapidly from the hovering helicopter, using the rope ladder. Finally, 2 people watched the others' agile movements and clung to the aircraft, too scared to go down. I grabbed one in each hand, tied ropes around their waists, and tossed them down the ladder. The 2 got up from the ground, covered in dust. They were about to start cursing, but then thought better of it, and quickly fell in behind the main group. The research institute was located in a desolate mountain area. The entrance was a huge metal door, disguised as a mine shaft. It was severely damaged, revealing a deep, dark passage behind it. The air was thick with the smell of blood and decay, but strangely, the surroundings were eerily quiet. No moving zombies were in sight. Stay alert. Advance in alternating formation. I gave the order. The squad formed a tactical formation and cautiously entered the passage. Bai Yi and Pan Shi stuck close to the middle of the team, nervously looking around. The inside of the passage was a mess. Dried bloodstains were everywhere, along with broken equipment and scattered documents. The walls were covered in bullet holes and huge claw marks, indicating that a fierce battle had taken place here. But just as the intel said, we didn't encounter any zombies. Following the map, we headed deeper underground, until we reached the main laboratory area deep below. In the center of the lab stood a massive low-temperature storage cabinet. It was right there. The cabinet door was shut tight. The indicator light on it was actually still blinking with a faint green glow. Found it. This is the place. Tech specialist Lu stepped forward to check. The cryogenic system is still partially operational. What we're looking for might be inside. I signaled everyone to stay alert. I stepped forward myself and entered the backup access code we got from the base. A soft beep sounded. The cabinet door unlocked. I slowly pulled open the heavy door. A plume of icy white mist billowed out. As the mist cleared, I could see several blue spiral glass vials neatly arranged inside, along with a few labeled portable hard drives, the serum samples and research data. Just as I reached out to retrieve the items, Pan Chi, who had been following behind, with a shifty look in his eyes, suddenly lunged forward. "Captain, something this important should be entrusted to me. I swear I'll protect it with my life." He shouted these noble words, but his hand shot toward the serum and data drives in the cabinet. A cold glint flashed in my eyes, but I didn't stop him. Instead, I handed the items right to him. At the same time, I shifted my body slightly, as if he had pushed me aside. Pan Chi grabbed the serum and drives, clutching them to his chest. Instantly, his face lit up with an ecstatic and greedy look. He'd succeeded. However, the very next second after he grabbed them, he did something no one expected. He suddenly raised his foot and kicked hard at an inconspicuous red emergency button on the nearby wall. A piercing alarm instantly echoed through the entire underground space. At the same time, deep within the lab, a heavy isolation door that had been tightly shut revealed behind it a dense, packed mass of mutated zombies in various grotesque forms. Terrifying roars washed over us. The entire lab shook. "Pan Chi, what are you doing?" Kai's eyes widened with fury. He raised his gun and aimed it at Pan Chi. Wang Meng and the other team members snapped out of their shock instantly. They roared in a mix of shock and rage. Their gun barrels all turned toward the traitor, but Pan Chi was already clutching the serum and data, scrambling back toward a high metal platform on one side of the lab. There was the entrance to an emergency escape route. He stood at the edge of the platform, looking down at us, trapped by the zombie horde below. His face twisted into a savage, triumphant grin. Pan Chi laughed maniacally. "Why? To take all the credit, of course. With this stuff, I'll be set for life back at the base. Who cares if you live or die? Brother Pan Chi, save me. Take me with you." Only now did Bai Yi fully understand what was happening. She looked up at Pan Chi on the platform and let out a desperate scream. Pan Chi glanced down at her. His gaze was ice cold, filled with contempt and mockery. "Take you? Bai Yi, don't be ridiculous. You think I actually liked you? If it weren't for your connection to Chen Feng, letting me use you to get close to him and gather intel and resources, why would I waste my time playing nice with a brainless idiot like you? What good are you besides holding everyone back? Stay here and feed the zombies." Ha ha ha. Pan Chi's brutal honesty stabbed straight into Bai Yi's heart. Her whole body trembled violently. Her face turned deathly pale. Her lips quivered, but no words came out. She just stared at Pan Chi with a look of utter devastation and despair. "You bastard, I'll kill you." Kai roared. He fired his gun toward Pan Chi. The bullets hit the metal platform, sending up a shower of sparks, but the thick structure blocked them. Pan Chi flinched in fear. But seeing the bullets couldn't reach him, he regained his smug confidence. He turned and ducked into the escape route, vanishing from sight. And now, the zombie horde is already upon us. Form a defensive perimeter. I have no time for anger. I immediately give the order. The team members suppress their rage at Pan Chi and their contempt for Bai Yi, quickly forming a defensive circle. Open fire. Gunfire, explosions, and zombie roars. The furious shouts of the team members instantly fill the entire lab. These mutated zombies are incredibly fast and frighteningly strong, and they seem to have some level of coordination. They charge at us from different directions. The battle is exceptionally brutal. Bai Yi seems completely overwhelmed by this sudden turn of events and Pan Chi's betrayal. She's completely broken. She just stands there in a daze until a zombie with sharp claws lunges right in front of her. Only then does she let out a scream and instinctively rolls away, barely dodging the attack. Her movements are surprisingly agile. A team member takes a shot, blowing that zombie's head off. Relying on our superior equipment and seamless teamwork, we fight our way back. At the cost of 2 members getting lightly wounded, we finally, with great difficulty, push back to the lab entrance. We use explosives to temporarily seal the passage, cutting off the zombies' pursuit. Once we're temporarily safe, everyone's gaze turns to Bai Yi, slumped on the ground, looking utterly devastated. Old Zhang strides over. Without any hesitation, he slaps her hard across the face. Old Zhang's voice trembles with pure rage. "You idiot! Look what you've done. Look at the monster you were protecting." Old Zhang's voice trembles with pure rage. "For that piece of trash, how many people have you gotten killed? Are you happy now?" Bai Yi's head snapped to the side from the blow. Her cheek instantly reddened and swelled, but she seemed to feel no pain. She just covered her face and began to sob. She pleaded incoherently. I'm sorry, I didn't know he would do this. Chen Feng, save me. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong." I walked up to her, looking down at her from above. There wasn't a shred of sympathy in my eyes, only utter coldness and indifference. My voice was terrifyingly calm. "Bai Yi, I gave you so many chances, from the evacuation point to the shelter, to the plane, and even just now. I tolerated you, time and again. I indulged you, not because I still cared about you. I just wanted to see how far your stupidity and selfishness would actually go." I crouched down, looking directly into her tear-filled eyes, and declared, word by word, "Now I see clearly, and you should wake up too. Pan Chi never loved you. He was just using you, and for a piece of trash like him, you betrayed the teammates who truly cared about you. You wasted humanity's last wings of hope. We were over long ago, and from the moment you helped Pan-Chi lead those zombies to us and almost got everyone killed, you, Bai, have completely forfeited your place as my teammate, and as a member of Dawn Base. Bai listened to my words. The color drained from her face. The last glimmer of light in her eyes went out completely. Nothing but boundless despair and deathly silence remained. Nothing but boundless despair and deathly silence remained. No, Chen Feng, I'm begging you. She wanted to make one last attempt, but I was already on my feet and didn't look at her. Clean up the battlefield. Prepare to evacuate. I ordered my team. We quickly gathered the remaining ammunition, treated the wounded. And old Zhang, using a backup line he found, barely managed to get through to base. The extraction convoy reported in and informed them of our evacuation route and rendezvous point. As we walked out of the research institute and boarded the off-road vehicle that came to extract us, Bai stumbled out after us. She looked at us with one last shred of hope on her face. I sat in the passenger seat, rolled down the window, and looked at her one last time. Bai, my voice came through the window, cold and final. For the sake of what little history we have, I won't kill you, but you're on your own now. Drive. With that, I nodded to the driver. Bai was stunned for a moment, then it hit her. She screamed and started chasing after them. No, Chen Feng, don't leave me behind. Take me with you, I'm begging you. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Deputy Captain Lao Zhan watched from the rearview mirror as that figure grew smaller and smaller, stumbling and running after them, until she tripped on a dirt mound and couldn't get back up. She vanished completely. He looked away. He glanced at my expressionless profile, hesitated for a second, but spoke up anyway. Captain, have you really let go? I stared at the road stretching endlessly ahead, and asked him back, Lao Zhang, what do you think? Lao Zhan was silent for a moment. He nodded, sighed. It's good that you've let go. That kind of woman isn't worth it. He paused. A look of worry surfaced on his face again. It's just, the blood type and data were taken by that bastard Pan-Chi. He muttered worriedly to himself. Sigh. If he can get them back safely, even though the credit will be his, at least for the human survivors, it'll be good news, right? Hearing Lao Zhang's words, the corner of my mouth lifted slightly, into a barely noticeable curve. I didn't say anything, I just reached into the side pocket of a completely unremarkable tactical backpack I carried with me, and pulled out a palm-sized, specially designed insulated case, with a faint operation indicator light blinking. I gently placed it on my lap, and gave it a pat. Just then, not far ahead, on the side of the road, several wandering zombies appeared. They seemed drawn by the engine noise, slowly turning around. But among those zombies, we saw a familiar figure. It was Pan-Chi. He looked utterly miserable. One of his legs seemed injured, bleeding profusely. He was running with a limp. His clothes were torn to shreds. He was clutching the box containing the serum and data. He was being chased and cornered by those zombies. He saw our convoy, as if seeing his savior. His face lit up with wild joy. He frantically waved at us, while screaming at the top of his lungs. Chen Feng! Captain Chen, save me, quick! The convoy slowly stopped, but didn't get too close. Chen Feng, save me, or I'll destroy this serum and data. No one gets it then. Without it, you'll have nothing to report back. The team members saw this, both shocked and furious. They all aimed their guns at him. Kai roared, Pan-Chi, you bastard, put it down. Wang Ming's eyes turned red too. You dare destroy the serum? I'll tear you to pieces. Pan-Chi looked insane. Clutching the box, his finger was on what looked like a detonator button. Go ahead, shoot. We'll all die together. Save me, take me back to base, or no one gets out of this. The situation reached a stalemate. I looked at him, cornered and desperate, still trying to threaten me. It was pathetic. Pan-Chi, are you sure what you're holding is the real serum and data? The madness and triumph on Pan-Chi's face froze in an instant. He stared at me in disbelief, then looked down at the box he was clutching in his arms. He stammered. You, what do you mean? I raised the small insulated case in my hand, opening it just a crack, so he could see what lay inside. The spiral glass tube, emitting an eerie blue glow. The familiar external hard drive, containing the Research Institute's core databases air-gapped, backup, and the final 3 uncontaminated original serum samples. They've been right here all along. My voice was crystal clear. I watched Pan-Chi's face turn deathly pale, as if he'd seen a ghost. I continued, as for what you're holding, it's just a high-quality replica I prepared in advance, to serve as a decoy, along with some worthless, discarded lab notes. Did you really think I'd be stupid enough to entrust mankind's last hope to someone like you? No. Impossible. You're lying. You're lying. Pan-Chi completely broke down. He frantically tore at the box in his arms, trying to verify if it was real. And in that moment of distraction, the zombies surrounding him lunged at him. Ah! Help! Chen Feng, save me, I'll give you all the credit, save me. His piercing scream was cut short, replaced instead by the sickening sound of tearing flesh and the rip of muscle and sinew. Pan Chi's body was tackled to the ground by several zombies and instantly swallowed up. The team watched the scene in silence at first, then erupted into uncontrollable cheers and curses. Serves you right, Karma. Captain, you're amazing, so you switched them out long ago. Old Zhang also let out a long sigh of relief, looking at me, his eyes filled with admiration and lingering fear. Chen Feng, you knew all along he was no good. I didn't respond. S0x20x15cm. I just quietly closed the insulated case in my hands and said calmly, clean this up, we're going home. We made it back to base without incident. The intact serum samples and core research data we brought back were immediately sent to the highest level biolab for analysis and further study. This holds immeasurable value for humanity's understanding of the zombie virus and for the future development of a true vaccine or cure. The base's high command gave my abilities and contributions high praise. Given my key role in Project Ember and my outstanding performance on this mission, I was exceptionally promoted to commander of the base's Special Operations Force with the rank of Colonel. I was tasked with leading 3 elite tactical squads, including the Dawn Squad, and directly participating in the base's high-level strategic decision-making. Old Zhang, Akai, Wang Meng, Xiaoyu, and other original Dawn Squad members were also promoted and commended for their merits. They became the backbone of the newly formed Special Operations Force. We now had better equipment, higher clearance, and more importantly, greater responsibilities. As for Bai Yi and Pan Chi, they were like stones dropped into water, failing to create even a ripple within the base's vast system. No one cared about their whereabouts, and no one remembered they ever existed. It's been 3 months since I returned to Dawn Base. Headquarters Command Center sent an urgent communication. They want me to report to the conference room. It's a red priority. Lao Zhang and I exchanged a glance. We both grabbed our jackets and rushed out of the dorm. Red priority has only been used 3 times since the base was established. The atmosphere in the conference room was tense. I saw that on the holographic map. Directly opposite me, the entire southwest region was marked in deep red. Commander-in-Chief General Lin, in his 50s, had his graying hair meticulously combed, but his eyes were bloodshot. Southwest Base 3 has been out of contact for a month. The last communication was sent out a month ago. It contained only 2 words. Probably the magnetic field comms are down. We tried using all backup frequencies. No response. What about the regular rescue teams? General Lin said gravely, we sent 2 teams. The first one went in. They lost contact 24 hours later. The second team, we found them at the edge of the swamp. Their vehicles and equipment. But the men were gone. The projection switched to satellite imagery. The area where the southwest base is located was shrouded in a thick white mist. The mist is so dense, even at high noon, the satellites can't see through it. When did this white mist appear? Over 2 months ago. At first, it was just a thin fog. No one paid much attention. Then, in less than half a month, it spread across the entire southwest region. It's not a natural phenomenon. Its composition is also very complex. The intelligence officer zoomed in on the image. Lao Zhang leaned closer to the screen. What about thermal signals? Any signs of life? The intelligence officer sighed. Nothing. It's like the entire area's gone dark. We received this half a month ago. Can't go back. Help. I listened to the voice in the recording. Suddenly, a chill ran down my spine. General Lin turned off the projection. He continued. This signal came from the southwestern edge. Source unknown. Chen Feng, your special operations team, is the base's most elite force? I want you to lead a team southwest. Investigate the situation. He paused. His tone turned serious. I need you to understand. This mission is the highest risk level. Once you enter the swamp zone, if you can't establish stable comms, within 6 hours, you retreat. We cannot afford to lose any elite squad right now. I stood up. Understood. What equipment do we need? Double the standard supplies. 30 days of rations. Full protective gear, heavy-duty breaching tools, and this, the newly developed magnetic field stabilizer. It hasn't been field tested. What about personnel? You pick your own team, no more than 15 people. You have 24 hours to prepare. Depart at dawn tomorrow. General Lin also wanted us to bring some base supplies with us if there are survivors at the southwest base. After being out of contact for so long, their supplies might be critically low. Bringing supplies could give them some hope. Leaving the meeting room, Zhang lit a cigarette. Zhang hadn't smoked in 3 years. Cigarettes are a luxury in the apocalypse. Him lighting up now shows just how bad he's feeling. Captain Chen, the risk factor is way too high. Last time, on a mission with a risk factor this high, 20 people went. 17 didn't make it back. Only 2 returned, and they were critically injured. I looked at the list in my hand and said to him, I know. But this time is different. We have experience. We're prepared. That southwest region, my hometown is there. Even before the apocalypse, there were lots of swamps over there. The old folks called them ghost walls. Easy to get in, hard to get out. Lao Zhang, you know this too. But back then, what era was that? It's different now. I know. That reassurance felt incredibly weak. Now is the era of the apocalypse. Rebuilding social order is tougher than in any era before. I patted Lao Zhang on the shoulder. We have to go there. If there's really something there, we need to find out what it is. I selected 12 team members, including veterans like Lao Zhang, Akai, Wang Meng, Xiaoyu, these seasoned members, plus 5 newly assigned elites, demolitions expert Zhao Hu, and electronics whiz Zhou Qian, plus Sun Lei, a renowned wilderness survival expert, and 4 versatile young soldiers. At 5 in the morning, the convoy was ready to go, for heavily modified off-road vehicles, with heavy machine guns mounted on top, their cabins packed with supplies, followed by a massive supply truck loaded with goods. General Lin came to see us off personally. Chen Feng, remember this, your lives are more important than any data. If you encounter a situation you can't handle, I authorize you to abort the mission. I saluted. Understood. Wait for us to return. The convoy left the base. Dawn had just broken. Kai whistled as he drove. Captain, I heard there's game to hunt southwest of here. We could bring some back to improve our meals. Lao Zhang was in the back seat, wiping down his sniper rifle. Let's focus on making it back alive first. And besides, what era is this? That game you're talking about could be mutated. Eating it might give you the runs. The journey went fairly smoothly. We advanced 400 kilometers south. We camped at an abandoned service area for the night, taking turns keeping watch. By noon the next day, we reached the location marked on the map, Boulder Base. This base was built on the site of an abandoned steel mill. Its 30-foot-high walls were covered in barbed wire and watchtowers. Seeing our convoy, a sentry in a tower waved a flag. The heavy gates slowly swung open. A man in his 40s with a square jaw and a hearty smile came out to greet us with a few others. He wore faded work clothes, washed pale, but they were neat and pressed. You must be the brothers from headquarters. Welcome, welcome. He strode forward and firmly shook my hand. I'm the person in charge of Boulder Base, Zhao Taizhu. Hello, I'm Chen Feng. Colonel Chen Feng. I've long heard of you. His enthusiasm was astonishing. The subordinates behind him were all smiles too. We brought some supplies. We'll offload a portion for you. Hearing this, Zhao Taizhu and the others were overjoyed. Thank you, thank you. He patted my shoulder with a firm hand. You've had a long journey. Come on in and rest. Our conditions here are humble, but we'll make sure you get a hot meal. The inside of the base is much more orderly than outside. The buildings are converted from old factory workshops, but the streets are clean and tidy. There's even some simple greenery. Some of the base's residents were busy by the roadside. They gave us friendly nods when they saw us. You run this place pretty well. I observed my surroundings. The base isn't large, but it's well organized. There's even a bulletin board. Zhao Taizhu chuckled. It's all thanks to the brothers working together. Our Boulder base now has 327 people. The reason we've survived this long boils down to 8 words: unity, mutual aid, and overcoming hardships together. He led us towards a building in the center. A sign at the entrance read cafeteria. Last winter was the toughest. Blizzards blocked the mountains. Our food supplies were nearly gone. We almost didn't make it. Thankfully, headquarters sent us a batch of supplies, food, medicine, and seeds. That kindness is something every one of us remembers. His voice grew a bit somber. Long tables were set up in the cafeteria. The food was mostly canned goods and dehydrated vegetables. But in these end times, this is already a rare treat. What surprised us even more was a small bottle of liquor on the table. A small bottle of liquor on the table. We dug this out from deep in an old warehouse. Grain liquor, been stored for probably 20 or 30 years. Couldn't bear to drink it. Now that you're here, you have to try it. He poured a cup for everyone, raising his own cup. The first toast is to you. Without your support, we wouldn't be here today, and to you as well. We raised our cups in response. The atmosphere was warm. Zhao Taizhu is quite the talker. He went on about the hardships the base has faced over the years. He just kept going on and on. The hardest part was those first few months. We were surrounded by zombies 3 times. Each time, we thought we couldn't hold out. He took a swig of liquor, swaying back and forth. The worst time, the perimeter wall was breached. Over 20 of our brothers were lost. My wife, never mind. It's all in the past now. He suddenly choked up a bit. Xiaoyu asked softly, your family, they're all gone? Zhao Taizhu downed his drink in one gulp. Wife, daughter, parents. I'm the only one left. These people here are my family now. He pointed into the distance, at a table of young people eating quietly. They don't even look like adults yet. These kids are my greatest pride. We hired teachers. They study academics every morning, and survival skills in the afternoon. Even so, the flame of civilization must not be extinguished. Lao Xiao, you really have a good heart. Nowadays, most bases only focus on survival. Who has time for school? Zhao Taizhu said earnestly. If even the children stop learning, what's the difference between us and beasts? We humans. What we're fighting for is the future. Dinner lasted 2 hours. Zhao Taizhu and several base managers took turns toasting us. They told many stories about fighting the zombies. It was pretty interesting. Among them, a middle-aged woman with glasses said, "Last autumn, we organized a team to clear out the town to the south. We found quite a few books. Most were useless, but there were a few complete sets of textbooks. The kids have to make do with those for now. We're also learning to farm now. The harvest isn't great, but we've had some success with fresh vegetables." Akai whispered to me, "Captain, this Lao Zhao seems like a really good guy. They run their base pretty well. That kind of dedication is rare in the apocalypse." I didn't say anything, just smiled and kept up the conversation. Zhao Taizhu is indeed forthright and reliable. His base is very well managed, but I can't shake this feeling that something's off. Maybe it's just too perfect. After the meal, Zhao Taizhu personally took us to the living quarters. It was a converted workers' dormitory, simple, but kept very clean. On the beds, there were even sheets washed nearly white, though they were all patched up. Zhao Taizhu scratched his head apologetically. "Conditions are limited. You'll have to make do for the night. Leave in the morning. Traveling at night isn't safe either. If you need anything, just say the word." As soon as Zhao Taizhu left, the team gathered in my room. I asked them how they felt. Lao Zhao seems like a good guy. His base is very well managed. After Wang Meng finished, Xiao Yu also nodded. The kids all look pretty healthy. That's rare in the apocalypse. Lao Zhang frowned. "Did you notice? This base is clean, not the environment, but the people. Everyone is so friendly, so warm. But this warmth, ugh." Lao Zhang smacked his lips. I chimed in. "It feels a bit forced?" Ah Kai scratched his head. "It can't be that bad. They're just being hospitable. All right. Hope I'm overthinking it. Tonight, everyone stay alert. Keep your weapons close. We'll take turns on watch. Tonight, I'll take the second shift." Standing by the window, I could see the outline of the entire base. Panchur base enforced a strict curfew. After 8 p.m., the streets were empty. Searchlights swept across the perimeter walls. Sentinels were faintly visible in the watchtowers. But the more I saw, the more uneasy I felt. It's year 3 of the apocalypse. I've seen too many survivor settlements. Even the best-run bases always have conflicts, complaints. Panchur base is like a stage play. Everyone's like an actor. 3 in the morning. I heard a sound in the distance. Faint. Strange. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. Early the next morning, the night passed without incident. We were ready to set off. Zhao Taizhu showed up with some people, carrying several crates of stuff. He loaded the crates onto the vehicle. "Take these with you. It's jerky we made ourselves, dried vegetables, and pickles. For the road, just some simple things. You brought so many supplies for us. Consider these our local specialties." I opened a crate to take a look. Inside, everything was neatly arranged, stacked with vacuum-sealed food. Most of it was vegetables, probably produce from the Panchur base's vegetable farm. They're a bit small, but it's still pretty good. I realized, this is too generous. Your base is far from headquarters. You should keep these. Zhao Taizhu laughed heartily. "Ah, don't be so polite with us. You're heading southwest. It's a long journey. Can't hurt to have more food. Besides, you brought so many supplies." "Oh, right. If you could leave some behind, send it to headquarters for testing. See if there are any issues. Send us a report." He insisted we take them. He even helped load them himself. Many people from the base came out to see us off. As the convoy drove out of Panchur base, I watched Zhao Taizhu. In the rearview mirror, his figure grew smaller and smaller. Xiao Yu sighed. Good people. To keep that kind of kindness in these times, it's really not easy. The convoy traveled about 5 kilometers on the ruined highway. I suddenly called for a stop. "What's wrong?" Xiao Yu asked. I didn't answer. I just pushed the car door open and walked to the roadside. Next to a patch of dried weeds, I saw dark red stains. I crouched down and wiped it with my finger. It was sticky and hadn't dried yet. It's blood, and it's from within the last 24 hours. Lao Zhang came over too. After a careful look, it's human blood, probably from an injury. The blood trail extends intermittently into the woods by the road. We followed the trail for several dozen meters. Under a thick, withered tree, we found a lot of this blood, along with drag marks. Ah Kai crouched down to examine the ground. There was a fight here. Look at these footprints. At least 5 people were surrounding one. Wang Meng suddenly lowered his voice. "Captain, the footprints are heading back toward Rock Base." We all fell silent. In the distance, Rock Base remained quiet and peaceful. "Let's go. Turn around." "Captain, do you suspect Lao Zhao and the others?" Lao Zhang's expression turned grave. I cut him off. "I'm not sure yet, but we need to go back and check." The convoy silently returned to Rock Base. About a kilometer from Rock Base, I had everyone get out and approach on foot. We lay prone on a dirt slope outside the base perimeter, observing with binoculars. It was 10 in the morning. Based on yesterday, it should be the time when residents start their workday, but the quiet streets were empty. There weren't even any sentries on the watchtowers. This isn't right, Lao Zhang whispered. I made a hand signal, split into 3 teams, and enter from different directions. Lao Zhang, Akai, and I formed one team. We climbed through a less obvious breach in the east wall. The base was eerily quiet, with only the sound of the wind. We moved along the walls, and reached the vicinity of the central cafeteria. Through a window, we saw figures moving. I signaled Akai to take a closer look. He tiptoes over to the window, takes a look, whirls around, his face goes pale. Captain, inside. There. He exchanges a look with old Zhang. They both peek out the window. In the cafeteria, what's laid out on the long table isn't food. It's mutilated human bodies. Zhao Taizhu stands by the table, holding a butcher's knife. There's no smile on his face, just a bone-chilling expression. He gives a cold laugh. Fresh is always best. The ones that got away yesterday, all that blood wasted on the road. A dozen people sit around the table. All of them are the residents who ate with us last night. They're bowing their heads, feeding. One of them looks up. I see blood smeared around his mouth. His eyes glow red. He licks his lips and sighs with satisfaction. These are mutants. It suddenly hits me. Zhao Taizhu and his crew aren't zombies. To be precise, they're mutants that evolved from zombies. They keep the zombies' habits, but now have consciousness. More destructive. They can think. Their goal is to take over the human world. This was only discovered recently. I never expected the Boulder Dash base to have so many of them. Right then, from the storage room in the cafeteria corner, comes a loud clang. Everyone in the cafeteria jerks their heads up. All eyes snap toward the sound. They're moving nothing like humans. Zhao Taizhu slowly turns his head. His gaze lands on the window we're at. A smile splits his lips. We have guests returning. Fall back, I growl. But it's too late. The cafeteria door is slammed open. Over a dozen mutants charge out. They're fast, nothing like ordinary zombies, like professionally trained soldiers. Open fire. Old Zhang yells. Gunfire instantly shatters the base's silence. These mutants are using tactical evasion, using cover, and coordinating with each other. Kai shouts. How are they so smart? Watch out, they're flanking us. Zhao Taizhu strolls out of the cafeteria. Unhurried. Kai's bullets hit his chest. He just staggers slightly. The wound heals at a visible rate. He tilts his head. Chun Feng, why did you come back? I let you leave this morning. That was your chance. I raise my gun, aiming at his head. What the hell are you things? He spreads his arms. We are the creators, evolved ones. The perfect hosts for the zombie virus. We possess strength and regeneration. And speed. More importantly, we have intelligence and memory. This is the future. One of the mutants behind him laughs. It sends chills down your spine. What about the others? I point at the other buildings in the base. What about those kids? Did you eat them all? Zhao Tieju's smile vanished. Sacrifices must be made. We need blood to sustain our power, just like humans need food. As for children, their blood is the purest, and the most potent. You monster! Xiao Yu cursed, her eyes red. The battle erupted in full force. The number of mutants far exceeded our estimates. Out of the supposed 300 people in the base, over 100 were actually mutants. We were surrounded. Break through towards the warehouse. I commanded. It's spacious there, harder to get trapped. Bullets whizzed, and flesh flew. These mutants were more troublesome than any enemy we'd ever faced. They knew how to coordinate and employ tactics. Captain, their weak points are the head and the heart. You have to hit both at once. If you only hit one, they'll regenerate. Wang Meng shouted during the fight. Old Zhang threw 2 grenades, blowing a hole open. We charged into the warehouse and quickly barricaded the door. I leaned against the wall, catching my breath and checking our ammo. Captain, we've only got a third of the bullets we brought back left, and just 5 grenades. There are more outside, but Akai checked his magazines, his hands trembling slightly. Outside the warehouse, mutants were ramming the door. The heavy iron door was buckling. Xiao Yu's voice remained calm, but her eyes were full of worry. Captain, what do we do? I scanned the warehouse, and suddenly noticed the large barrels in the corner. They had a skull and crossbones, and a corrosive liquid warning. What are those? Xiao Chen, a former member of the Boulder base, was hiding in the warehouse. It was industrial acid used in the steel mill. The person in charge said it was too dangerous to move, so it was just left here. My eyes lit up. Kai moved the acid barrel next to the door. Old Zhang blew the barrel open. The others found cover. Just as the mutants were about to break in, we detonated the acid barrel. With a loud bang, the corrosive liquid sprayed out. The mutants at the door let out piercing shrieks. The strong acid ate away at their bodies. Their regenerative abilities were useless against such potent acid. Now's our chance. Let's get out of here. We fought our way out of the warehouse and broke through toward the base's main gate. Along the way, I saw heartbreaking scenes. Behind the iron bars of some buildings were real, uninfected residents. They were skin and bones, their eyes hollow. They were penned up like livestock. Help us! A man reached out from behind the bars. His wrists were covered in scars. I yelled to my team. Open the cages. We fought while freeing the survivors. These people were terrified at first, but when they saw we were fighting the mutants, they were inspired too. Suddenly, a woman picked up an iron rod from the ground and smashed it hard into a mutant's head. They ate my husband. I want revenge. I'm going all out. We're dead anyway. A teenager screamed and charged forward. The flames of rebellion spread like wildfire. The fear ordinary people had for the mutants transformed into pure rage. They grabbed whatever weapons they could find and joined the fight. Zhao Taiju never expected that these lambs for the slaughter would dare to rebel. Kill them all. He screamed orders frantically. But the tide had already turned. Out of over 100 mutants, less than 50 were actual combatants. The rest were like puppets. Now we had over 200 furious survivors with nothing left to lose. The battle raged for 4 hours, incredibly brutal. When the last mutant fell, the base's square was a river of blood. We had Zhao Taiju cornered. His body was covered in wounds, yet they were slowly healing. The acid had eaten through his left arm, exposing the bone. His right eye was also destroyed. He snarled, "You bastards, you've stopped humanity's only path of evolution. Evolution? Into a monster like you? We don't need that." I raised my gun, aiming at his head. Wait! A survivor rushed forward. A teenager, 17 or 18. He was skin and bones, his hands trembling. He said, "Let me." He ate my sister, right in front of me. The boy picked up a steel rebar from the ground. With all his strength, he smashed it into Zhao Tieju's head. He kept going until the body stopped moving. Stopped healing. The boy dropped the rebar, fell to his knees, and cried his heart out. We stayed at the rock base for 3 days, helping the survivors bury the dead and clearing the area of survivors. There were 217 of them. Every one of them was skin and bones, suffering from long-term malnutrition. Xiao Yu led the medical team to give them checkups and treat their wounds. We selected a new person in charge. This person was the first to react during the resistance, and also the one who contributed the most. His name is Li Min. Li Min's eyes were red. "Thank you. Without you, we would have been lambs to the slaughter." I looked at him and the survivors behind him. Even though they were still weak, I believe they will establish a new order soon. I took half of the supplies we unloaded from the vehicles. "These supplies are for you. We'll notify nearby bases to send support. The name Rock Base can stay. But what's inside needs to change." Li Min nodded. "We will build a true human base." When we left, the survivors stood at the gate to see us off. That young man suddenly ran over. His voice was hoarse. "This leather-bound notebook. I found it in Zhao Tieju's room, hidden under the floorboards. It might be useful to you." I opened the notebook. It was filled with writing. The first few pages were normal, recording the base's daily management. But starting from the middle, the handwriting became strange, and the content was even more frightening. Day 3, I started craving blood. On the 7th day, I could hear their heartbeats. On the 15th day, I ate a person. The source in the southwest. I must return in 10 years. These are the last few pages. Only one sentence was written over and over. I closed the notebook and looked toward the southwest. Let's move out. The convoy left the boulder base once again. The environment was deteriorating at a visible rate. The vegetation grew sparser and sparser. The land took on a sickly gray-brown hue. The air was filled with an indescribable feeling. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, we reached the edge of the marshlands in the southwest region. The sight before us was terrifying. An endless white fog, so thick it seemed impenetrable, and the edge of the fog was as sharp as if cut by a knife. This is the place. The southwest base is right at the center. A straight line distance of 120 kilometers. I raised my binoculars. Couldn't see a thing. Zhou Qian stared at the instrument. Magnetic field anomaly. The compass is completely useless now. The radio only has static. "Captain, should we activate the stabilizer?" "Activate it." Zhou Qian unloaded a silver case from the vehicle. Inside was the stabilizer brought from headquarters. Flipped the switch. The device roared to life. The stabilizer is activated. It only covers a radius of 50 meters. The energy will last for 72 hours. After that, it needs a full day to cool down and recharge. If we can't find the target in 72 hours, then we stop looking. We'll leave 2 team members behind to guard the vehicles and most of the supplies. The remaining 10 will travel light. We're carrying essential gear and 7 days rations. Everyone carried ropes to keep from getting separated in the white fog. Remember, no matter what you see or what you hear, do not act alone. If you get separated, stay put and wait for rescue. Got it? Got it. The moment we stepped into the white fog, the world seemed to change. Visibility was less than 5 meters. The light was dim, like nighttime. The temperature also plummeted. A chill set in. We couldn't tell what the ground beneath our feet was. With every step, it felt like our feet would sink halfway in. Maintain formation. Advance slowly. We traveled through the white fog for about 3 hours, with nothing to show for it. No zombies. No living people. It's too quiet. Something's wrong, Kai suddenly said. We passed this tree 20 minutes ago. It's a twisted tree, with distinct marks on its trunk. Right, I remember seeing it. We're walking in circles. Xiao Yu's voice was tense. Zhou Qian adjusted her equipment. It could be magnetic interference, messing with our sense of direction. The stabilizer is working normally, but the magnetic field here is strange. After walking for another hour, A relatively dry highland appeared ahead. Dilapidated buildings loomed in the white mist. We'll rest here for 10 minutes. I checked the time. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But the sky was already very dark. The team had just sat down when strange sounds came from the fog, getting closer and closer. 6 people in tattered clothes, so thin you could see the outline of their bones. The leader was a man in his 50s. His face was covered in wrinkles and scars. He held a wooden stick in his hand. They saw us, first recoiling in fear, then looking confused. "You're alive?" The man's voice was hoarse. I took a step forward. "We're from the official rescue team, from the Dawn base. Are you survivors from the Southwest base? Official?" The man froze. The people behind him exchanged bewildered looks. Then they suddenly laughed. "The government still exists? You're saying the government still exists?" Their laughter was chilling. "Mister, of course the government exists. They've been organizing rescue and reconstruction. It's been 3 years since the outbreak. We've never given up." The man's laughter stopped abruptly. He stared at us, his eyes shifting from madness to confusion. He muttered to himself, "3 years? You're saying 3 years?" He pushed back his hair, revealing a vicious scar. "This scar is from the 7th winter. I was fighting with a gang over a can. Almost died." He pointed to a one-eyed woman behind him. "Awan lost her eye in the 5th year. Oldly broke his leg in the 8th year. No medicine to treat it. It healed crooked." He patted the head of a child next to him. "Xiao Duzi. His parents died in the 6th year. Now it's the 10th year. The autumn of the 10th year." We were all stunned. Xiao Yu reminded softly, "Mister, you must be mistaken. It's definitely been 3 years. I remember it clearly." The man looked at Xiao Yu, then looked at us, suddenly crouched down, and started drawing in the mud with his hand. "No. Are you guys from 10 years ago?" "What? The base was built in the autumn, 10 years ago. Back then, there were no zombies, just some strange people. We were the first builders. Then the white fog came. We never left." He stood up, pointing at the white fog. "Time seems off here. Sometimes you live a few days, and the calendar says months have passed. Other times, years go by. But it's only been a few weeks. Forget it. We can't tell anymore. It's like we're going crazy." "What is this place?" I asked. The man smiled bitterly. "This is the Southwest base. Few who come in ever get out. Even if they do get out, they can't find their way back." He paused, looking at our gear and weapons. "You really are sent by the authorities? Not my hallucination?" "Absolutely." I showed my credentials and badge. The rest of the people all knelt down, their bodies trembling. Crying, they said, "10 years, we've finally waited for this." We handed out food and water to these people. They wolfed it down. It was heartbreaking to watch. The man called Lao Wu told us more details as he ate. "Time flows differently here in the swamp than it does outside. They were trapped here, with no way to track time. Some tried to keep a record, but they'd just get confused." Lao Wu lowered his voice. His eyes were full of fear. "The worst are the fog demons. They look like people, but they're fast. Anyone they take never comes back. We think they're not from this world." Just then, the kid called Little Doozy suddenly started coughing. His little face turned red. He was breathing fast. Little Doozy had an attack. His old condition gets worse with the seasons. He almost didn't make it last year. Xiao Yu rushed over to check on him. Her expression turned grim. "It's pneumonia, and it's serious. It's become chronic. He needs antibiotics and ongoing treatment." I had Xiao Yu give him an antibiotic shot. We also gave Little Doozy fever medicine. He fell asleep quickly. A Juan took Xiao Yu's hand. Thank you. Little Doozy is my sister's child. My sister and her husband are gone. If I lost Little Doozy too, I don't know what I'd do." "It's okay. He'll be fine." We brought plenty of medicine. A week of treatment should get it under control. Lao Wu watched all this. He finally let his guard down. He wiped his face and stood up. "If you don't mind, we have a temporary camp. Not far from here. It's run down, but better than this. You should all come rest." We exchanged glances. Nodded. "Lead the way." Lao Wu's camp. A cave deep in the swamp. It's a natural cave. The entrance is well hidden. About 30-some people live inside. Conditions were pretty rough. Seeing the food Lao Wu brought back, and the medicine, everyone rushed out. When they learned we were a rescue team, a wave of stifled sobs erupted from the cave. 10 years. The authorities haven't forgotten. We're saved. Finally, we're saved. Looking at these people, who've struggled for 10 years in this apocalypse, I felt sick to my stomach. "What exactly happened here?" I asked an old man, who seemed relatively clear-headed. The old man sighed. Then he began his story. The Southwest Base was once one of the largest shelters. At its peak, it housed 100,000 people. It had a complete defense system, agricultural production, and even small-scale industrial facilities. But 7 years ago, the old man squinted. A strange illness broke out in the base. Their eyes would turn red. They'd crave blood like crazy. At first, they just bit people. Then they started eating them. just like the boulder's base. But the timeline doesn't match. According to these people, all this at the southwest base happened 7 years ago. But why has only 3 years passed in the outside world? I was puzzled. The old man continued. The management was infected first. They rounded us up, like livestock, like animals. Every day, they'd pick a few people and take them away. What happened then? Then the group split. The infected, they called themselves Evolved, said they'd leave the base to build a new order. Another faction wanted to stay, turn the base into their hunting ground. When they started fighting, we took advantage of the chaos and escaped, over 100 of us. Now, only these are left. He paused. Later, all those infected people disappeared. They all vanished. I was even more confused. The entire southwest base now has no zombies or infected people, and the base has a young man who can heal people. He's the father here. Father? The old man nodded. That's what everyone calls him. He places his hand on a wound, and the wound heals. For someone with a fever, he touches them and the fever breaks. Where is he? I pressed. There's a camp deeper in the swamp. He's there. He moves around a lot. He has many people with him. Many people seek his help every day. It's really hard to get an audience with him. After discussing it with Lao Zhang, we decided to go find this father tomorrow. If he can really heal injuries and sickness, he might actually be something special. But Lao Zhang thinks, this guy is probably a swindler, a con artist. Early the next morning, we left some team members behind to protect the camp. I took Lao Zhang, Akai, and Xiaoyu, and headed deeper into the swamp. The fog grew thicker. Visibility was less than 10 feet. Around noon, a structure appeared ahead. It was a dilapidated school. The wooden structure was all rotten. We approached cautiously. At the entrance, we heard snoring. We pushed the door open, and saw a bald, chubby man, lying on a bench, sleeping soundly. He wore a tattered robe, clearly ill-fitting. He was clutching an empty can in his arms, drool dripping from the corner of his mouth. Ha! Excuse me. Akai spoke up. The bald man jolted upright. Eyes still closed, he yelled. I didn't steal it. They gave it to me. I was just smelling it. He opened his eyes and looked at us. He froze. He rubbed his eyes, blinking hard. Then he took a cautious step back. Who are you? Survivors. Wait, how do you guys still have these? These are guns. We're the official rescue team. We're from headquarters. The bald, chubby guy's mouth fell open. His jaw practically hit his chest. 3 seconds later, he suddenly burst into deafening sobs. You're the official rescue team? 10 years? You're finally here. He lunged forward to hug us. Old Zhang nimbly sidestepped. The chubby guy missed. He fell to the ground. He cried even harder. I knew the authorities hadn't forgotten about us. 10 years? Only 3 years have passed out there. Old Zhang said, exasperated. 3 years. Did you come here in a time machine? The bald, chubby guy kept sobbing. I helped him up. He looked to be in his late 20s. Round face. His eyes were very clear. Different from people in the apocalypse. What's your name? Why do they call you father? My name is Lu Guangming. I was just a programmer. I wrote code. When the apocalypse broke out, I was traveling in the southwest. I missed the first wave. Later, I got bitten. He rolled up his sleeve. There was a clear bite mark on his left arm. I thought I was done for, but I slept it off and was fine. Not just fine, I found out I could heal people. I put my hand on someone's wound, and it would heal. But it's exhausting. Every time I heal someone, it's like running a marathon. I have to eat double rations. They insisted on calling me father, and made me live here. I just want to go home. I want hot pot. I want spicy hot pot. I want a shower. I want to sleep on a soft bed. But this damn place has nothing. We looked at each other. This blubbering fat guy in front of us was the legendary priest. Can you show us? Lu Guangming hesitated. Xiaoyu walked over then. She cut a gash on her own arm. Blood gushed out. Lu Guangming was taken aback. He placed his hand over Xiaoyu's wound. Watch closely. A few seconds later, a faint light emanated from his palm. The wound on Xiaoyu's arm healed at a visible speed, leaving only a faint white scar. See? He sat down weakly. Sweat beaded on his forehead. Every time it ends like this, I get so hungry it's unbearable. These people can't even feed themselves, yet they save rations for me. Sigh, the pressure is killing me. I remembered Professor Yan's theory. A small number of special infected individuals don't turn into zombies. Instead, they develop special abilities. Lu Guangming might be one of those special people. You have to come with us. We have plenty of food there, and hot water. Lu Guangming's eyes lit up instantly. Food, hot showers, and real beds? Not some makeshift bed from broken stools, but actual beds? You have everything? He jumped up. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go, let's go. We're leaving right now. I've got nothing here, just a backpack. His luggage was simple. Inside the backpack were a few patched up clothes, and a tattered apocalypse survival guide, and a whole bunch of assorted buttons. He said sheepishly, "This is what I've collected. When there's nothing to do, I just count buttons for fun, to keep myself from going crazy. Look, here's a shirt button, a coat button, and some cute cartoon buttons." Kai couldn't help but laugh. "Father, are you really a priest?" Whoa, please, don't call me father. Just call me Xiaolu. I'm just a poor, unlucky programmer, who accidentally became a superhuman. You know, for a while there, I thought I was the main character in a comic book, but I waited 10 years, and no one ever came to get me. On the way back to camp, Lu Guangming was like a kid on a field trip, absolutely thrilled. Does the the base have electricity? Can you get online? Can I maybe watch the cartoons on my hard drive? Is there a movie theater? I haven't seen a movie in 10 years. Hot pot. You really have hot pot? Not just some canned stew, right? I want hot pot with tripe and beef aorta. The dipping sauce has to be sesame oil with garlic paste. Old Zhang shook his head helplessly. He said to me, this kid, can he really cure people? As if to prove himself, Lu Guangming suddenly stopped. Wait, there's something over there. Almost at the same time, old Zhang raised his hand too. Quiet, there's something in the white mist. Moving, more than one. They're fast. Run, they're coming. But I didn't run. I wanted to see what this thing really was. A few figures emerged from the white mist. They had human silhouettes, with grayish-white skin, and completely black eyes. Fire. The bullets hit them and went right through. They were definitely hurt. Their weak spot is the head. Focus fire. After a fierce battle, 5 fog creatures were eliminated. After they died, their bodies turned into black liquid, leaving only gray smoke. When did these things appear? I asked Lu Guangming. He looked pale. About 3 years ago. I don't know. The swamp used to only have regular zombies. Then the fog got thicker and thicker, and these things showed up. They don't eat people, but they drag people away. No one ever sees them again. I don't know what they are. I collected some samples of the black liquid. My gut tells me these things are related to the spacetime anomalies in the southwest region. After returning to camp, we took Lu Guangming and prepared to head back to headquarters. The survivors didn't stop us. Father, it's time to go. Old Wu said. He's done too much for us. It's time for him to live a good life. But your health. An old man worried. Every time, Lu Guangming patted his chest. Don't worry, stick with the authorities, and you'll eat and drink well. Once I'm settled, I'll try to get them to send a rescue team for you. As we left, the entire camp came to see us off. Lu Guangming wiped away tears, waved, until the camp disappeared into the white fog. I will definitely come back. He turned his head, staring at me with a flattering look. Captain Chen, our base really does have hot pot, right? I couldn't help but laugh. Yes, I promise. The journey back was harder than the way there. The fog creatures appeared more and more frequently. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, just as we were about to leave the swamp, gunfire rang out. The first bullet landed by my feet. We returned fire. 6 hostiles at 9 o'clock. It lasted for 10 minutes. The attackers were professionals. Their tactics were a bit unorthodox. I checked the attackers' bodies. 2 were male, in their 30s, well-equipped. They were revolvers. Lu Guangming said, trembling. I've seen them. They're here to capture me. They want to capture me. Why do they want to capture you? Because of my blood. Once, I accidentally cut my hand. A drop of blood fell on the ground. An infected person licked it, and seemed to turn back to normal. What? We were all shot. We confirmed it again and again. Lu Guangming wasn't lying. I grabbed Lu Guangming by the shoulders. I could understand why he didn't report it immediately. After all, this is a matter of great importance. If Lu Guangming really has the ability to cure the infected, his value is far greater than we imagined. On the 7th day, we finally made it out of the swamp. We returned to where we had parked, but the team members we left behind were gone. The vehicles were also damaged. Akai checks the ground. They were attacked. After searching the area, we finally found one of the team members, alive, but severely wounded. There's a terrible wound on his abdomen. It was xenomorphs. The team member grabbed my hand. They were wearing military uniforms, took half our supplies, said it was a gift for the priest. How many? Which way did they go? The member points east, then passes out. We treated his wounds as best we could. We decided to return to headquarters. Not only does the wounded need treatment, Lu Guangming also needs a safe environment. The convoy speeds through the wasteland. Lu Guangming looks at the ruins outside. Captain Chen, do you think the world can ever go back to the way it was? I don't know, but we'll do our best. Back at headquarters, it's already late at night. 7 days later, the headquarters building is brightly lit. General Lin greets us at the door personally. Chen Feng, you've worked hard. He sees Lu Guangming with us. His eyes light up. Before we returned, I had already sent a message detailing Lu Guangming's situation. General Lin knows Lu Guangming well. That's the healer. Lu Guangming nervously hides behind me. He whispers to me, Captain Chen, they're not gonna trick me and experiment on me, are they? Don't worry, you're a hero, not a lab rat. Lu Guangming's worries were not unfounded. He was taken to the medical center for a comprehensive checkup. A group of people in white coats surrounded him to draw blood, scanning and testing his superpowers, scaring him pale. I knew it. This would happen. Ugh. He wailed while getting his blood drawn. Superpowered individuals end up being locked up for research. I haven't even had hot pot yet. Professor Yen heard this, couldn't help but laugh. Young man, we're not the bad guys. Your ability can save millions of people. We're grateful to you, if anything. The test results were shocking. Lu Guangming's blood has a special antibody that can neutralize the zombie virus. His cells grow at a rate 10 times faster than normal people's, but his metabolic rate is only half. This explains why he needs a lot of food. Professor Yen pointed at the report. When using his superpowers, his cells consume a large amount of energy. energy, but he consumes very little normally. This is probably a kind of energy-saving mode. After hearing the explanation, Lu Guangming let out a sigh of relief. So, I'm not a monster, then? You are Hope. Professor Yen patted his shoulder. The hope of human civilization. The base arranged the best treatment for Lu Guangming, a private suite, round-the-clock hot water, unlimited food supply. On the first day, he ate 8 meals and slept for 14 hours. Heaven, Lu Guangming said contentedly. This bed and this blanket are so comfortable. As his security detail, I watched him roll from one end of the bed to the other. I sighed. Go to sleep. Don't break the bed. Finally, he settled down. After 3 days at the base, Lu Guangming volunteered. Are there any injured personnel at the base? I can treat them. At the medical center, there were several team members injured on missions. Lu Guangming treated them one by one. He worked up a sweat every day, but he was grinning from ear to ear. It feels good to help others. Half a month later, the research finally had a breakthrough. Professor Yen called me to the lab. His eyes were bloodshot, but sparkling with energy. Chun Feng, the antibody protein we isolated from Lu Guangming's blood. Preliminary lab tests show it can completely suppress the virus from replicating in the culture. What does this mean? I asked nervously. It means we might have developed a vaccine or a cure. Professor Yan's voice trembled. 3 years, we finally see a glimmer of hope. He showed me the lab records. Infected mice, after receiving the antibody, showed a 90% drop in viral load within 24 hours, and the mice showed no other side effects. There's one problem. Professor Yen frowned. The antibody only survives a few hours outside the body, but Lu Guangming's body produces it continuously. Why is that? We need to figure it out. We either mass-produce antibodies, or figure out why he produces them. Replicate it. I chimed in. So I need a lot of time, samples, and research. Chun Feng, Lu Guangming must be kept safe. You know how valuable he is. I nodded. Right then, a piercing alarm echoed through the base. Attack at the vegetable garden. Casualties reported. I repeat, attack at the vegetable garden. My heart sank. This morning, Lu Guangming said he wanted to see the vegetable garden, wanted to see some greenery. I sent 2 of my best men with him. When did this happen? I yelled into the radio. 10 minutes ago. Assailant unknown. The scene is chaotic. I rushed out the door. Old Zhang and Akai were waiting downstairs. When we got to the garden, the place was a mess. My 2 men were lying in pools of blood. 1 dead, 1 wounded. Lu Guangming was gone. Search the entire area. I shouted. We found Lu Guangming at the edge of the garden. He was leaning against a fruit tree. He had a deep stab wound in his abdomen. Blood soaked through his clothes. Captain Chen, he said weakly. It was a man, wearing a lab coat. He grabbed me, said my blood could complete their evolution. Don't talk. I pressed on his wound. Xiao Yu, med kit. But Lu Guangming grabbed my hand. Wait, let me try. He placed his trembling hand over the wound. Closed his eyes. The bleeding slowed, but it didn't fully heal. It's no use. He smiled bitterly. Healed 3 wounded men this morning. Didn't eat enough. We rushed him to the medical center. The surgery took 3 hours. 1 more centimeter, and the blade would have hit his organs. Lu Guangming was in a coma. He lost too much blood. The base was put on its highest alert. Headquarters is our most secure facility. How could there be a flaw in the security system? General Lin formed a special investigation team. I'm in full charge. We're vetting all personnel, checking every single security measure, reviewing all entry and exit logs from the past 3 months. One day, outside Lu Guangming's hospital room, I ran into someone. My teacher, Professor Li Jinghua, my biology teacher. I was a bit surprised. Professor, what are you doing here? Li Jinghua is a founding member of the base. Even before the apocalypse, he was a renowned virologist. For the past 3 years, he's been researching the zombie virus. He's Professor Yan's main collaborator. I heard the cured one was injured. I came to see. Li Jinghua adjusted his glasses. How is he doing? Stable. Needs more rest. Li Jinghua nodded. He didn't enter the room. He turned and left. I watched Li Jinghua walk away. I felt uneasy, but I quickly dismissed the thought. Li Jinghua is my mentor, a pillar of this base. Impossible. But once suspicion takes root, it grows. I began investigating in secret Li Jinghua's movements. 3 days later, Tech intercepted an encrypted communication from inside the base. Decryption will take time, but the time it was sent is clear. It was an hour before Lu Guangming was attacked. I took the evidence to General Lin. After hearing my report, his expression turned grim. Chun Feng, do you know what it means to accuse Professor Li? He's a founding member of the base. I know, that's why I need solid proof. We set a trap. We leaked false information. Lu Guangming's blood sample. Key substances were discovered. Transferred to the advanced lab. That night, I hid in the lab's ventilation ducts. 2 a.m. The door opened. A figure slipped inside, heading for the cold storage where the sample was kept. It was Li Jinghua. He opened the cabinet, took out the fake sample, and placed it in a portable cooler he brought. Just as he turned to leave, the lights came on. I jumped down from the vent, my gun aimed at him. Professor, why? Chen Feng, you've grown up. Professor, answer me. He sighed, put down the cooler. He used his fingernail to cut his arm. The wound didn't bleed, but oozed a black liquid. I took a step back. I'm infected, Li Jinghua said calmly. 6 months ago, there was a lab accident. I didn't fully mutate. I retained some of my sanity. Or rather, there are two consciousnesses inside me, fighting for control. He rolled up his sleeve. His arm was covered in bite and scratch marks. Whenever that consciousness takes over, I lock myself away. But lately, it's been getting stronger. He gives a bitter smile. The one who attacked Lu Guangming that day was me. No, it was him. I saw the report saying, his blood can cure the infected. He got scared. So, why didn't you report it? I'm heartbroken. I can help you. Li Jinghua trembles. Chen Feng, you don't understand. This isn't an illness. It's evolution. He walks towards me, step by step. Kill me, while I still can control it. There might be a way. There's no time. He suddenly collapses to his knees. His body convulses violently. He's coming out. Hurry! Right then, the corners of his mouth split open. An inhuman smile. A monster has taken over his body. Chen Feng, please. I close my eyes, and pull the trigger. The gunshot echoes through the lab. After Li Jinghua passed away, General Lin comforted me and asked me to personally sort through Li Jinghua's belongings. In his dorm room, I found a notebook. The first half contained detailed experiment logs. Starting from the middle, the handwriting becomes frantic. It reads, Day 47. I can hear his voice. Day 63. Almost hurt an assistant. Day 89. He showed me a piece of knowledge. The origin of the virus, in the Southwest. 10 years. The last few pages are sometimes neatly written, sometimes wildly scribbled. If I completely lose control, kill me. If a cure can be found from my remains, finding a cure. This is my final research project. He was searching for something, a place, a time. Lu Guangming wasn't the only one. There were more immunes. Find them. Don't believe. Chen Feng, I'm sorry, and thank you. I closed the notebook, my hands trembling. With tears in her eyes, Professor Yan performed the autopsy. In Li Jinghua's brain, they discovered special neural tissue. This was the key. Professor Yan pointed at the microscope image. The virus had altered the brain structure, creating a second consciousness. Lu Guangming's antibodies can suppress viral replication, but cannot reverse the structural changes. Therefore, a complete cure is impossible. No. Professor Li proposed an idea in his notebook, to combine antibodies with special neural growth factors and rebuild damaged neural pathways. He also left behind experimental data. It was incomplete, but it gave us a clear direction. We combined Li Jinhua's notes and data with our research on Lu Guangming and put it all together. A month later, the experimental therapeutic agent was born. We tested it on a severely infected patient. As an experiment, he was a volunteer who knew his time was short and had lost his family in the disaster. Let me make a contribution. If it works, there's hope for humanity. 24 hours after the injection, he returned to normal. The viral load in his blood dropped by 99%. 72 hours later, he said he wanted a bowl of hot noodle soup. The ward erupted in cheers. Professor Yan was crying. Lu Guangming was awake too. Looking at the surveillance feed, he asked me quietly. Captain Chen, he was a hero. I said calmly. The first batch of serum was produced. The quantity was limited. It was supplied to high-risk infected individuals at the bases and frontline soldiers. I led the special operations team to escort the serum to the major bases. At Boulder Base, Li Min took my hand. Colonel Chen, thank you for not forgetting us. The wall is repaired. The children have started school again. Don't worry, we will live well. At the edge of the southwestern swamp, we established an outpost. We systematically rescued survivors. People trapped in the fog for 10 years saw hope for the first time. Back at headquarters, it was already another late autumn. Golden leaves fell to the ground. Lu Guangming was waiting for me. He had gained weight and looked much healthier. Captain Chen, Professor Yan says the research has entered a new phase. He needs a sample of my bone marrow to cultivate more antibody cells. I agreed. I patted him on the shoulder. Thank you. No need to thank me, Captain Chen. Before all this, I was just an ordinary programmer, writing code, fixing bugs every day, looking forward to clocking out, looking forward to clocking in. Then the apocalypse came. I thought it was all over, but now I feel that even though I was unlucky, my misfortune happened to be that my ability was meant for today. Come on, Professor Yan is still waiting for you. I thought that after developing the serum, things would get easier. But unexpectedly, a new situation arose in the Southwest. The outpost we established was surrounded by dense fog. The fog was actually moving. Look, the fog was previously at this line, but now it has expanded at least 50 kilometers. When did the outpost lose contact? 6 hours ago. The last communication said the white fog showed signs of activity. Then the signal cut out. We sent drones, but they lost control upon entering the white fog. Just then, the tech officer suddenly shouted, "We're receiving a signal." It was the outpost's backup frequency. The screen flickered a few times. A distorted image came through. A soldier, his face covered in blood, faced the camera. They're not zombies. The feed cut off abruptly. How do they have weapons? Lao Shan couldn't believe it. Wait, zombies can't use weapons. Then it must be the variants from the Panshir base. General Lin stood up. Chun Feng, take your special operations team and check out the situation. Rescue them. Most importantly, find out the truth. General Lin put a hand on my shoulder. If you encounter a situation you can't handle, desperate times call for desperate measures. I looked up at General Lin. General Lin's expression was serious. He gave me a nod. Understood. 2 hours later, the special ops team was ready to go. I brought 20 men, including all the old-timers, and a few new elite recruits. Our gear was upgraded too. We had heavy armored vehicles, flamethrowers, and portable rocket launchers. Lu Guangming came to see us off. He handed me a small package, some cookies I made. He said sheepishly, "No butter, but I added honey. For you." I took the cookies and said to him, "All right, thanks, stay put and don't wander off." We traveled fast. 5 days later, we reached the edge of the southwestern fog zone. The fog was thicker this time than last. The previous outpost had been swallowed by the dense fog. "Suit up in protective gear," I ordered. "Prepare to enter." We were in full protective suits, wearing gas masks, each of us tethered by a rope. We slowly entered the thick fog. The fog was different from before. I couldn't say exactly how, but I could feel it. "Captain." Xiao Yu's voice trembled. "We can all feel it. The white fog is changing. I hear you. Stay alert." As we spoke, the outline of the station emerged from the fog. The station had been destroyed. Surprisingly, there were bullet holes and blast marks on the walls. Walking into the courtyard, we found bodies. They were all personnel left behind at the former station. It was a gruesome sight. They were ambushed. Akai crouched down to examine them and said. Suddenly, Wang Meng shouted loudly, "Something's there." Then, several figures emerged from the white fog. They were clutching knives. They stopped when they saw us. One of them opened its mouth and let out a strange sound. What are they saying? I wondered to myself while raising my gun. "Watch out," old Zhang said. Before he could finish, those things moved. Fire. Gunfire erupted. Bullets struck their bodies, but had little effect. Aim for the eyes, I yelled. One of the monsters lunged at Xiao Yu. It swung its knife at him. Xiao Yu blocked with his rifle. The metal gun was deeply dented by the blow. Akai reacted quickly. He fired a burst into the monster's joints. The monster fell to its knees. I seized the chance and charged forward, plunging my military dagger into its eye. The monster shrieked a few times and went still. The fight lasted several minutes. We took down quite a few of these monsters. But 3 of our team were injured. Fall back. We'll lay down cover fire and retreat. Just as we were about to exit the white mist, it began closing in on us again, cutting off our escape. They can control it. The mist is pressing in on us. Back to back. We formed a circle, guns pointed outward. Then another monster stepped out, but it was a person, wearing a tattered lab coat and glasses. Apart from being a bit pale, he looked just like a human. "Hello. I'm Liang Wan." I raised my gun and aimed at him. "What are you?" "Human. A new kind of human. I'm the perfect creation of the zombie virus. We have intelligence, we've gained strength, and we've transcended the limits of the flesh." He spread his arms. "See this mist? It's an extension of us. We can control it. You're lambs to the slaughter now." As soon as he finished speaking, several more people appeared behind him. They were all like Liangwan. "New humans," I demanded. "You killed the people at the station." "Killed? We merely studied them. We need to understand ordinary humans. Their sacrifice provided data for our evolution." "You bastards." Liangwan raised his hand. "Drop your weapons. I can allow you to live on in another form. Evolution is inevitable. Join us." A loud boom. An explosion erupted between us and the white mist, scattering some of the mist. 2 armored vehicles charged in. "Captain, get in. Let's go." The armored vehicles turned around and sped out of the white mist. Liang Wen and the others didn't pursue. In the rearview mirror, we saw their figures vanish. After leaving the southwest base, we gave General Lin a brief report. General Lin's face was grim. "It's an organized kind, capable of controlling the mist and human consciousness and thought. Similarly, Professor Yen has also discovered a disturbing fact. Their cellular structure and Professor Li Zhenghua's mutation are heading in the same direction. Perfect, stable. This isn't natural mutation. It's artificially guided evolution. What does that mean? In other words, someone is guiding the direction of the virus's evolution. Lu Guangming was also on the video call. They want my blood. Is it to complete the final step? Professor Yen patted Lu Guangming's big head. Your antibodies can suppress the virus. A special immune like you, if captured and studied by them, they might find a way to create perfect mutants that retain their powers but aren't countered by you. Eliminate them. They're not a major threat yet. We need to wipe them out now. After ending the video call, our squad found a cave near the mist zone to rest for now. In the early hours of the morning, Professor Yen gave me a call. On the phone, he sounded urgent. Chun Feng is in trouble. My heart sank. I quickly asked, what happened? The base headquarters has been invaded by aberrants. General Lin is injured. Before they left, they also left behind a video recording. I panicked. I pressed. Is General Lin seriously hurt? General Lin is the backbone of the base. You could say, since the apocalypse, he's the greatest spiritual leader. If he gets hurt, or something happens to him, then chaos will follow. Once the aberrants break humanity's spirit, it'll be too hard to rebuild confidence. He's still in the ICU. His condition is stable for now. Lu Guangming is also in there. He's treating General Lin, but the situation is critical. I asked Professor Yen to send me the video. I never expected it to be Liang Wan, standing in front of a huge iron cage. Inside the cage were countless pitiful ordinary people. Locked in the cage by Liang Wan, they helplessly watched the video. Liang Wan stood in front of the camera. Humanity must cooperate with us, or there's only one outcome. As he spoke, his underlings dragged the ordinary people out of the cage and forced them out. These ordinary people were forced onto a platform, and all injected with aberrant fluid. Then, they began to frantically transform into aberrants. I watched, filled with rage. Liang Wan is creating more of his kind. He wants to turn this world into a world of aberrants. Then, Liang Wan looked into the camera and said, you humans who refuse to evolve will end up as sacrifices. If you're willing to hand over Lu Guangming, I can release half the hostages. The footage finally froze on a map, marking the exact location of the southwest base, and the route to get in. Old Zhang stood beside me, fists clenched. That bastard. He's clearly trying to set us up. The hostages. So many people. How can we just ignore them? Professor Yen is also waiting for my reply. I recalled the images I had just seen in my mind. The despair in those people's eyes. It was just like the survivors at Panchur base. We have to go. Old Zhang wanted to say something more, but just shook his head. But, we absolutely cannot do what he says. We'll go a day early. He says take this route. We won't take it. Since he wants to use Lu Guangming as bait, we'll give him a surprise. I asked Professor Yen to use the headquarters tech to pinpoint the signal's exact location. Then I started planning our next move. Lu Guangming was also escorted by Professor Yan's people to the camp we were temporarily based in. This time, Lu Guangming volunteered. I looked at Lu Guangming, this guy who just wanted to eat hot pot. He's changed so much now. Lu Guangming, are you sure about this? This mission is very dangerous. I can't guarantee your absolute safety. So many people are waiting for me to save them. I can't just stand by and do nothing. Alright, then let's move out. I'm also very curious about the southwest base. That place shrouded in thick fog for years. What secrets does it hold? Liang Wan, according to the intel from headquarters, he was a scientist. How did he end up like this? And what exactly is this new world he's talking about? The space-time anomalies in the southwest region, are they connected to them too? Zhang leaned in close to me, looking at what I held in my hands, and asked about the dense text. What if we bring Lu Guangming this time? What if it's too dangerous to bring him alone? He's a crucial bargaining chip. We have to ensure Lu Guangming doesn't enter the core area of the base. We'll set up a safe point here. I pointed to a spot about 3 kilometers from the base. Lu Guangming will stay on standby with you. Evacuate immediately upon receiving the signal. What about you? Zhang sounded worried. I'll take the team inside. Your job is to protect Lu Guangming. Remember, you must protect Shen Feng, you. That's an order. The night before departure, I made the final preparations. I took 20 elite soldiers, 5 armored vehicles, and a large amount of special equipment. We set out according to plan. The 20 members were divided into 3 squads. The squad I led arrived at our position first. Looking from the high ground, the southwest base was faintly visible. Below lay a massive underground facility. There were a lot of mutants, about 50 of them. Shall you observe through binoculars? Where did they get so much equipment? Scavenged from various bases. The base has numerous heat signatures in 3 separate areas. The hostages are probably held here. What about Liang Wen's lab? Here, maybe, fewer heat signatures here, but the temperature is higher, probably some large equipment. At midnight, our 3 groups began the operation. I took Xiaoyu and Akai and infiltrated first. We changed into their clothes. We discovered the mutants had actually kept some nasty human habits. Akai whispered, look, they're even playing cards. That's not a good sign. Watching these mutants actually drinking alcohol and playing poker. I frowned. Look at these freaks. They can actually drink and play poker. I frowned. Through the ventilation ducts and into the base. crawled 200 meters, and finally found a vent. The scene below sent a chill down everyone's spine. It's an operating room. On every table inside, a person is strapped down. Freaks in white coats are modifying them. It's brutal. Kai gets impulsive. Just as a freak raises a scalpel toward a civilian's chest, Kai pulls the trigger. The bullet goes right through the freak's scalpel. The operating room erupts into chaos. At the same time, Liang Wen arrives. We flip through the vent and jump down. Kai unties the civilians while firing at the enemy. Liang Wen stands in the chaos, calmly smiling. I knew you'd come. He claps his hands. I've been waiting for you. Kai impulsively lunges forward. You bastard. I'm gonna kill you right now. White mist rushes toward us, engulfing everything around us. All comms go completely dead. Gunfire, explosions, and screams echo all around. Suddenly, a pair of hands grabs for me. I dodge it nimbly. Liang Wen steps out of the white mist. His eyes have turned blood red. Humans aren't the masters of Earth. We're just tenants. Now the landlord is coming back to return the house to them. Just then, Liang Wen suddenly smiled at me. A new era is about to begin. What? I asked him. What are you talking about? Who are they? Seeds. These seeds were projected here by the universe in ancient times, just to wait for a suitable host. Now they've been awakened. I saw Liang Wen's body begin to change. He was shaking his arms with a look of pure bliss. Chen Feng, this is evolution. Don't you get it yet? Our bodies have already merged with the future. Right at that moment, old Zhang burst in with another group. A rocket launcher exploded here. Liang Wen's face twisted. What are you doing? Are you trying to ruin our master's return? In your dreams. I looked at Liang Wen, then glanced at the faint, shimmering light behind him. I charged forward. I didn't expect him to have his hands behind his back, holding a smooth, egg-like thing. It was about the size of a wash basin. This basin-sized egg was shaking violently, covered in countless cracks, and Liang Wen was feeding it with his own blood. Old Zhang fired at him. On my command, all squad members raised their most lethal weapons and fired at Liang Wen's hands. Liang Wen screamed, stumbling back. No, this is my power. This is my new era. None of you move. No one can ruin this. Liang Wen screamed hoarsely. Liang Wen screams, backing away. No, this is my power. This is my new era. None of you move. No one will ruin this. Liang Wen screams hoarsely. This only proves we're on the right track. I lunge forward. The dagger plunges into the center of the egg. The cracks deepen further. Liang Wen's other hand clamps around my neck. Chen Feng, you would defy our master? Chen Feng, don't you dare. Our master will come. Oh, really? I sneer. Seems Liang Wen's grand plan isn't going so smoothly. Liang Wen's hand transforms into a sharp claw. It pierces right through me. I look down at the gaping hole in my chest. I grip the dagger even tighter. Captain, Chen Feng, don't. The sounds around me grow faint. I can feel my own life slipping away. Liang Wen glares at me viciously. Chen Feng, you would throw away your life for these ignorant humans, these pathetic insects? I had such high hopes for you. Our master did, too. If you're willing, you could even join me as an emissary of our master. Stay here. Tell your master to give up on that idea. I'll never do that. I'm going to seal him away for good. Old Zhang, what are you waiting for? Hurry up. Aim the rocket launcher here and fire. Old Zhang hesitates. His weapon is aimed at me, but he can't bring himself to pull the trigger. Several team members are staring at me. They know if they shoot, I'd most likely be killed, but I'm not afraid at all. I press the dagger in deeper. I can feel it. This egg is about to break. Right at that moment, the strength in my hand is fading. I feel my life is at its end. Old Zhang lets out a roar. Chen Feng, just as I'm about to collapse, a pair of hands grab my elbows. They lift me up. I turn my head and see. It's that chubby Lu Guangming. Lu Guangming is straining with all his might, using his healing ability to mend my wounds. Captain Chen, you have to live. You can't die. You still owe me that hot pot. Please. I look at Lu Guangming and say, run. Lu Guangming shakes his head. He channels all the special energy from his body into me. Right then, the egg cracks. The light dims. The white mist dissipates. Liang Wen screams, cradling the egg. The egg quickly crumbles into dust and vanishes. No! The mutants behind him stand there, bewildered. Their master is gone. They've turned back into humans. Liang Wen curls up on the ground, howling. Old Zhang raises his gun, then lowers it. He says, take him away. Only then does he rush to my side. My wound is still bleeding. Tears in his eyes, old Zhang hoists me onto his back. Let's go. Lu Guangming follows closely behind me. His hands never leave my wound. 3 months later, the base holds a grand celebration. Professor Yen, based on Liang Wen and Lu Guangming's genes, develops a true reversal serum. It's distributed to all major bases. The results are remarkable. The mutants are completely gone. The spacetime of the southwest base gradually returns to normal. Outposts are rebuilt. Planned search and rescue for the last survivors begins. Word comes from the bedrock base. They've harvested their first crop. When I get the news, I'm still lying in a hospital bed. Lu Guangming is sitting next to me, holding a small hot pot, looking blissful. Captain Chen, you didn't lie to me. I finally get to eat hot pot. I smile and shake my head. We're still here. Humanity is still here.